Okay, well, everybody, welcome to yet another Ultralight Startups event. My name is David Carlos, and together with me, we are going to be producing the most incredible event you've ever seen. I have to my right Jennifer Takaki and Dan Allen.
Hello, world.
Hi, how are you?
So we're going to be doing some pre-game interviews for you, get a couple of panelists up here, and see if we can excite you and titillate you just a little bit before things actually get running. And we'll also catch you back again at halftime, so make sure that you don't just log out when everybody goes to lunch, because not everybody is going to be eating. So we'll see you guys in just a bit. I'm going to pull up, actually I think he went to the restroom.
Okay. Okay, everyone. We are now with Chris McCann.
Hi.
Chris's startup is called Startup Digest.
Yes, it is.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, do you want to hold that or do you want to? Okay. So Startup Digest is a weekly email of the best startup events, and we publish issues now in 53 different cities. So if you're in any major tech hub, we pretty much have an issue in your area. All you got to do is just sign up on the site, and every single week we let you know all the best events going on. So it's not news or analysis, but like how to get involved with your startup entrepreneur scene in your area.
So one of the things is Chris is actually a guest for a guest panelist on today's panel, and it's called Email Mafia. Do you want to? You have some back history with that coined term. Do you want to tell me about it?
Yeah, a while back we wrote a post called "The PayPal Mafia has got nothing on the Email Mafia," kind of battling the PayPal Silicon Valley versus, I guess, the email's kind of in New York City camp. And I just kind of detailed out some of the major players in the email space. So some of the people from Pilot Group and Thrillist and Daily Candy and Tasting Table. This guy Jason Baptiste here, who we call him the journalist, the reporter. So yeah, I just kind of laid this post out. It was just this random idea I had. It put it out there, and it got viewed like 20, 30,000 times, retweeted everywhere. And people now use this term, which they use for the event, the Email Mafia meetup, to kind of talk about email newsletters, which is kind of cool. Some of the other ones, smaller ones, are like Geek Chic Daily, Pure Wow, et cetera, et cetera. Like, actually, you go to Jason Baptiste's post if you're interested in this, called Email Newsletters Are a Serious Business. And he's kind of detailed out all of the email newsletters for some of the bigger players and kind of like what they do in revenue, what they sold for, all that good stuff. And there's just a plethora of like information in there.
So what are the common denominators that make all of those email newsletters successful?
Interesting question. So a lot of them, so I break them up into two camps. There's like the editorial newsletters, so more of the Daily Candy or Thrillist. For them, it's like short form editorial content with kind of one thing to do. And it comes out so it comes out 5 times a week, so daily. And that's kind of like what they specialize in. It's in a very vertical niche, so like guys 25 to 35 or girls 25 to 35. Very specific demographic, and it's kind of content they like and repeat it all over again. We and some of the other ones are more on kind of the information side. So like Help a Reporter Out is a good example. So they feature kind of queries from other people looking for sources for articles, for journalists, and people kind of are able to submit their stories to them. For us, our information is the events. So some of the other newsletters fall more of the information camp, where they have the information with a short little editorial on top of it. So those are at least like two of the big formats. There's a bunch of other ones I could go into, but those are kind of the two popular ones.
And for those out there who might be thinking about starting a newsletter or improving their success rate in terms of subscribers, can you give some recommendations and tips?
Yeah, so I can only tell by experience like what worked for us. So like, there's a big difference of very early on when we were like a couple hundred subscribers. What worked really well for us was actually going to the events that we featured. So for you, it might be going to whatever you're talking about and being active kind of in that community and telling people about what you did. So, every time we would do that, we'd get a couple, like 100, 200 more subscribers. People kind of hear about us. And it was very, like, kind of guerrilla marketing almost. We actually went to the events that we featured. Now that we're at a much bigger scale, like, one thing that's working for us a lot better is these more broader partnerships that we're doing with larger media companies. Like the GigaOhms, On Startups, Venture Hacks, VentureBeat, kind of the world. So for them, we're kind of tapping into each other's audience, and for us, helping us grow. So it kind of depends where you're at, but those are kind of the two tips, depending on what side you're on, that work for us.
And then, talk about the metrics of this. Like, what makes it successful? At what point are you actually a successful Email Mafia member?
Yeah, so for us, like, our core metric is email subscribers and the rate of subscribers and how many we ultimately have. So for the big newsletters, like, once you get to like 50 to about 100,000, you have content that people really, really like and it's kind of resonating with people. Like the big runaway successes have all been at around post 1 million subscribers. So after that, you've kind of made it into the big leagues, if you will. Like you've made it to the Uber Mafia. So yeah, we're kind of still at the smaller end of the scale, but we're working our way quickly up that way.
That's very good news, and we're excited to hear more about it. We're going to hear more about you and your company on the panel. I think we have some more guests, but Chris, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate your time. Those were some really great tips.
Okay, cool, awesome.
Okay. Hello, Dan Allen. Good. Okay, awesome. I'm going to hand over.
Thank you very much, Nightbird. Right now we're introducing Peter Shankman. He's the CEO and founder of Help a Reporter Out. There we go. Help a Reporter Out, reporter.com. And when did you start up this company?
HARO started as a Facebook group in 2007, in November of 2007. It was moved to the web after blowing through Facebook in March of 2008.
March of 2008. And were you a journalist yourself?
I was a journalist growing up. I worked for the Associated Press in college, and I was one of the founding editors of the America Online newsroom. But I started my career at AOL, and then from there opened a PR firm back in New York. So I've been doing a lot of both sides, both PR and journalism.
Now this PR firm, so that's the Geek Factory?
At the time. Right now the Geek Factory is a holding company that for all of my crazy ideas. But yeah, at the time the Geek Factory was a PR firm. We repped agencies, companies in the .com space back in like the 98 to 2001, ranging from, we had Napster, Juno, AOL, great companies. Really the cream of the .com crop, as it were.
Now, is the Geek Factory still going?
I sold the clients and the staff to a larger agency in 2001. I still own the name Geek Factory. No one's ever going to take that from me, and it's a holding company right now.
So when you finally realized that your idea was profitable and you moved it from the Facebook group, when did you start? Did you already have the email list in place, or was that?
No, I didn't move it because it was profitable. I moved it from the Facebook group because we outgrew the Facebook group. You couldn't send emails to a group that was more than 1,200 people, and we outgrew that group in about 2 months. I never planned on making money from HARO. HARO was designed to do favors for friends. I have friends that are journalists and friends that are sources, and I was doing favors for them on both sides. When we get a call from American Apparel that said, "Hey, we'd like to sponsor your list. You seem to have a decent amount of people on there that are PR people, and they wear our clothing." And I said, "Okay." And since that day, we've never not advertised them.
Did you start doing marathons and triathlons and Ironman before or after your newfound success?
Running back in 2001 when I needed some outlet for my ADHD. If I wasn't running and skydiving, I'd probably be a drug addict.
And skydiving at the same time? Or like when did?
I'm a licensed skydiver, about 225 jumps, so I don't run while skydiving or vice versa. But I do skydiving, running, triathlon, starting companies, public speaking, anything that caters to my creativity and my psychosis.
So after you make your next couple million, are you going to go back to singing?
You did your homework. Wow, yeah, I have 22 years of 22 years of classical vocal training under my belt, and no one knows that. And one day I might go back to that. Yeah.
Will you ever compete competitively in video games?
Probably not. I think Angry Birds is my extent. Although I do have an original 1992 Mortal Kombat in my office.
Excellent. All right, I would ask you more nitty-gritty, but I feel you're going to answer it all up here. But I just wanted to go more about you. I think you're pretty fascinating. So I'm going to bring up David right now. But thank you very much. Let's get David Carlos coming back, and he's going to interview.
Okay, we can get started here.
Yep. Bring. And we are going to get started right now.
Okay. Welcome to Ultralight Startups. Is this on? Can you guys hear me? Okay, welcome. If you can find a seat, wherever you can. There's a couple. Is that a free seat there? Waiting for one. There's a few seats in the back. Welcome to Ultralight Startups. My name is Graham Lawler, and I'm the founder and organizer of the New York chapter. We'll see momentarily that we've really taken things up a notch here at Ultralight Startups this month. And for those of you who were here last month, you will know that we had a live simulcast to our chapter in Boston, where people are gathered in a venue there called Work Bar. And last month, that was a one-way video stream. So they saw us, but we didn't see them. And this month, they can see us, or we can see them too, a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Chris DeLuca and or Dave Ulrich say a little hello, if they're there. But although I don't see Chris, is Chris ready to go? I see him now. Chris, do you want to say hi from Boston? We can hear you. We can hear you somewhat.
There you go.
Okay, is the volume a little bit better now?
Everything's perfect. Say hi.
Hi guys, we're here in Work Bar in Boston. We have a really good crew tonight. We just got ambushed by Emerson College, who was actually on a tweet hopping event, so it was pretty cool. But actually, right now we're watching you. We're really excited to be able to have a two-way stream. Last time it was one way, and now we're actually represented on the big picture here. So bear with us week by week. I think we'll be adding more and more features to get better represented. But super excited. Good crowd. Thank you guys.
So awesome. So we're going to try and take some questions from Boston and Chris. And it seemed like there was more people there a moment ago, but the Emerson students. Okay, so for those of you who have not been here before, I'll give you a little glimpse of the agenda, which is basically this. So we start out with what we call introductions by elevator pitch at 6:50, so that should be right around now. Maybe we're behind schedule. And then we take a break. There will be about 15 pitches that are approximately 1 minute long, and a couple of audience questions, both from New York and Boston, and also from Ustream. And then we will take a break for pizza at about 7:30. And after that, we'll come back and we have a panel, and the panel is the headline of this event, which is the Email Mafia. So you can see some of our panelists already sitting there, ready to share their insights about email. And exactly. So we'll hear more from those guys later. And then after that, we're going to go across the street to Heartland Brewery, where we will have drinks. So that is the agenda. We have Ray Bernays here. Ray, do you have a microphone? So Ray's going to help us do the pitches. I believe some of the people have pitched before that are pitching tonight, so they'll know what to do. But Ray, do you want to go through the guidelines?
Sure. I think just quickly to highlight, we have the format we're following is we have 1 minute to pitch. I'll keep track of time. On my watch, I'll give you a 10-second warning at 50 seconds. And then at a minute, we'll basically cut you off. We'll let you finish your sentence, but that'll be it. And then we'll kind of take one or two questions from the audience, depending on length. We're going to try to maintain an area up here for the next person who's coming up to pitch, the person who's on deck. And just to touch on a couple of guidelines, part of why we pitch is to kind of rehearse the elevator pitch, which is an essential part of being an entrepreneur and having a business. And we want to make sure that we hit on a couple key elements in that. As simple as it sounds, we want to make sure you mention your name, your business, the role you play in that business, and then give kind of a quick overview of what it is, what drives it, the types of users you're going after, the stage you're in, and importantly, the revenue model. Because if you don't address it up here, it will be one of your questions. And if you need something from the audience, a call to action, mention that. And if you are a service provider pitching, one thing we would ask is you try to bring up a tip for startups or kind of a best practice that you'd like to share. And another thing that's also nice that we've seen is kind of where connections have been made across Ultralight. Where businesses have worked together or partnered or gotten business from the community here, it's always nice to mention as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Ray. All right, not quite there yet. So let me do this. And hopefully people will see their name in this list.
So I think we have Bro Bible up first.
That's right. Although Bro Bible is not here right now. So we have, actually it looks like there's a few people that haven't shown up. So Salim is first right now. And on deck, Joseph.
Great. Yep, you can come up front, son.
Right there. Take that microphone.
Good evening. This is actually my first event, so thank you for having us. I actually just moved from London. The website is called Wahanda. My name is Salim. I'm one of the founders. We started the business 2 years ago in London. I used to be at Yahoo. My business partner used to be at Travelocity. And what Wahanda is we're trying to create the most comprehensive resource for health, beauty, and wellness in the world. And the way we look at comprehensiveness is we're trying to list every spa, salon, yoga center, gym in the world, every service they provide with prices, so their menus. So you can, if you're searching for any service or treatment in the world, you can search for it, say a manicure in Geneva or a massage in LA. Read reviews, see prices. The reviews come from users and editorial reviews. So you've been written up in Condé Nast, Times, The Vogue, and then you can book online. You can make a reservation. You can see what's available. You can request. So really what we're trying to do is help users find, share, and connect with businesses. Our initial funding was from Skype and Four Seasons Hotels. We gained some traction in the UK, and now we're expanding here in the US. Don't know if I covered everything. How we make money is, since that'll be the first question, we give everybody a free listing. You get a premium listing, which allows you to use our marketplace to sell online, and we take a commission on anything sold. So we have a listing fee, and we take commission on sales.
Great, thank you, Salim. Any questions for Salim?
Hi.
Right here.
How much was your initial funding?
Sorry. Initially, we raised 1.5 million pounds sterling. We did an angel round, so some of our investors, as I mentioned, Skype, Four Seasons Hotels, one of the founders of a company called Last FM, which got sold. So I was, from the time we closed funding, I quit my job. My business partner quit his job at Travelocity. I did at Yahoo. I was at Yahoo Search. Probably about 6 weeks later, we had a site up with 50 business listings. We now have over 200,000, so we're already the most comprehensive. But it took us about 6 months to get the community part built and the transactional engine built as well. So we launched basically in time for Christmas, and that's when 2008, and that's when we sort of started getting real traction.
Great, thank you, Salim. So I think we'll move to...
Thank you for this.
Great.
Can I use the computer as we do it? Or no?
Probably not advisable.
Okay, so let me give you the... If you go to xenophone.com.
Are you...
my name is Baruch Hertzfeld. I'm the president of the company, not Joseph. Okay?
Gotcha. So...
Okay, you go to... And I guess go to NOC. So let me type in the...
Go to where?
I want to show a user what a user sees. Well, I'll just talk, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a phone company called xenophone.com. I started with $20,000. Right now we have 30,000 users. 6,000 of them are paid users. What we do is we sell telephone service to Africans or if anybody anywhere in the world, and we only sell through social networking. And in order to join, you have to be invited. So because of that, we're able to track every single user back at the very beginning. Every time a transaction happens, every time a phone call happens, we send over micro endorsements or nano commissions up through everybody the whole way. It grows only by referral. All I did was tell 50 or 60 friends, and from that we've gone to everything. We keep on growing. Right now we can grow just from cash flow. If we get an infusion of cash, we can grow much faster. Our projection is that we can do $50 million in revenue in 2 years. We also have many other innovative features. We let people pick their own telephone rate, so we intend on adding 50 vendors.
10 seconds.
We also let people go from network to network, go from the phone line to Skype, and now we're offering phone to web radio within a week or two.
1 minute.
That's it.
Great. Any questions?
Can you describe it? I'm sorry, I may have missed what exactly.
Okay, so I'll show you on the pictures if you look at the web. But basically, what we do is we let the customer, they give us the numbers they call in Africa or in Asia, and we give them a USA number that they put in their phone. Now we let them pick the rate when they come in. So right now there's 9 selections. So and they know, like let's say you go to Google Voice, they give you one rate to call. But what you're doing over there is you're paying a premium for a higher quality service, and many of my customers are willing to pay a little bit less to have, they can pay as much as 50% less to have a call that's of questionable quality, but or just a little bit worse, but they're willing to do it. And the way the phone business works is that you get customers with rate and you keep them with quality. So we let them pick, and then they choose it themselves. And then that's just one thing.
So it's an international long-distance phone service.
That's one part of it. We also allow people to call in and listen to web radio, to listen to Skype, and all these things generate revenue. We're going to be doing, right now we're doing around $15,000 a week in revenue, and we keep on growing.
Another question. Is it in the back?
Yeah, how do you compete with, like, IBB Talk?
Excuse me?
Like, there's other competitors, like, how do you compete?
Okay,
How do you compete?
the question is really, the way we compete is by offering, our prices are usually 30-40% cheaper because we let the customers pick the vendor. Like, these guys usually only go with one vendor and one rate choice, but there's lots and lots of smaller telephone companies that are not being taken advantage of, that specialize in one area, and by going after them, we can actually drop the prices lower than everybody else. We also offer a much better, we also let people, the way the services spread is usually by word of mouth within the communities, and so what we're doing is we actually have people that tell other people, so we have an advantage over these other companies that have to market. We have our customers market for us.
Great.
Another question right
Just
there.
one more question.
So, considering that most of your call routing is gray, which is what I assume it is,
Okay.
offering like competitive rates,
Yes.
do you get a lot of complaints?
No, we tell the customer.
The question is, do
I get a lot of complaints? I tell the customer. They say that if you want to go for a higher rate, then go with the higher quality. This lets them choose. Usually the customer doesn't have that option. This is just another option for the customer. Most customers don't care, but the ones that try the hardest are also the ones that are most active about sending money, are also the ones that are most active about endorsing your product. And those are the guys you want to go after, because then they'll go out and spread the word. So giving them the option lets them do it.
Great. Scott, I think you're up next.
Wait. Let's take a question. Jennifer, have one.
Jennifer.
It was a question from Boston.
Okay.
My competitors are Google and Skype, and I don't mind, but I'm willing to give them the free calls. I don't mind if Skype takes the whole free call business. I just want the paid calls, and I can go after them for a third.
Perfect. Great, thank you.
Hi, I'm Scott Walpo, the founder of MyFilm.com, which is a site that's been trying to figure out a business model for many, many years. Everything I thought of just doesn't work out. So I spent a lot of time going through, looking at all the other film sites with my couple of people that work with me, and I finally figured out what they really need is filmmakers need to have the business set of tools to help them make their films. And independent films are growing exponentially. Everyone's a filmmaker today. Even your local lawyers making films and putting them on YouTube. As they get a little more complicated, they need to use a lot of other people, and almost all independent films are now made for deferred pay. So one tool I'm building is a banking system, so you can track everything in a different way than most other ones are doing, where you can actually sell your receivables. And I've still been investigating the legalities of that, because a few things that it depends what the FCC says about it. But I'm really looking for people who want to get involved with this, give me some ideas of what I can do to make the site. I'm going to relaunch the site in January, build it out in Joomla or Drupal.
10 seconds.
And that's what my film, and looking for anyone to get involved in it, because I think it's a lot of fun.
Great. Questions for Scott?
Did you say your revenue model?
Revenue model will be based on subscribers, people who want to use the tools to make their films. Let's say for bookkeeping, tracking locations, and all the little nitty-gritty that they need to make a film.
Charging subscriptions to filmmakers.
Correct. To use the business end tools, the front end, the reviews, that will be free to the public. So it's a premium model. Only people who want to make a film will need it. It's really set up for people for the first 3 films that they're going to make. After the 3rd film, if they're still making films, they have enough money to actually go buy all the expensive software and everything else they need to do.
Great. Thank you, Scott. Any more questions for Scott? No? Great.
Good.
And up next, we've got Hunter. Connexus.
Wait.
Sorry, Rana.
Rana. Is Rana? And then Hunter. So take a look at the list and you can see where you're gonna show up.
Sorry, I walked in a little late, so still stressed out about the stairs and whatnot. So what's Fablog? We are an e-commerce platform focused on bringing luxury emerging fashion to market. What it means is we pick and choose the best emerging fashion designers out there and bring them to our viewers. We went live with the new business model in May. Since then, we've increased our product offering by 200%. Our number of designers have also gone up by 200%. Our traction is growing. It looks like a hockey stick now. We've had sales, we've had repeat sales. The customers are really happy with what they're seeing. So it's been great. We've just been in Wall Street Journal like a week and a half ago. Thanks to HARO, Peter Shankman. So it's been great. We're getting some interest from the media now. We're also working on a really cool event
10 seconds.
in downtown. So any ladies out there, you're all welcome to join. How much? Any questions?
What about the men? Are they welcome to join also?
Yeah, sure. Gifts, sure. Any questions?
You want to discriminate?
Good. One right back there.
Yes.
How much?
How much
How much what?
To join.
to join?
Oh, to the event?
Yeah.
It's free.
So what's your revenue model?
So what's the revenue model?
Oh, you mean the business? You mean the online? So we take commissions from the designers, and that's how we make money.
And
yes, go ahead.
Is the commission you take because these are merchant designers greater than
No,
What's the
we're actually
commission?
very, very, very extremely fair. I've done a lot of research in the market, and I want to say that we're probably the most affordable in terms of commissions. We're not charging them any upfront fees. We understand that they're also building their businesses. For instance, there are businesses out there who are giving them wholesale prices. We're actually only taking about 18%. After the transaction cost, it only comes out 15%.
Another question over here?
Go ahead.
Who's
The
responsible
designer
for
is,
customer
for the most
service
part.
and
We do get involved with the customer service to some extent. So if there's something went wrong or whatnot, I do get involved. But that's another thing that we do. We thoroughly check the designer's background and whatnot. We talk to them. We have a direct relationship with them. It's not that just I get a product feed and I put it here. I actually work with them directly. So it's so far no problems. Yes.
This is such an incredibly competitive market.
Yes.
What is your plan for attracting and retaining audience?
So
we got to repeat the question before you answer it. So
oh, sorry. Okay.
Sorry. The question is, it's a competitive market. How do you attract customers?
Yeah. So I agree with you. There are a lot of players out there, but I'll give you some stats that I have been seeing. 50% of our viewers come back to our site on a weekly basis. Our bounce rate is only about 6%. The industry, a good site would probably have about 30%, but that could change as we ramp up. We're as good as anybody else out there. We're trying our best, and I think we're picking some really good products. Everyone that I've spoken to has given good, positive feedback. I was like, is there someone in my head talking? Okay, so that's it?
Yeah, thank you, Rana.
Yeah? Okay, thanks.
Thank you. I think we have Scott. You're either you or your phone, I think, is up next. Now we've got Hunter up to talk about Connexus.
And then Phaedra is on deck.
The Eagles of Flash.
You can hang out up here.
Hello, everyone.
Mute
Hunter.
every device that you have. That's the general rule. Okay, go ahead, Hunter.
I am Hunter Cohen. I'm the founder of Connexus Software. Connexus software builds social networks based upon email communication from our subscribers to the free NQ.com site. We are about to launch a product that uses this unique global social graph to deliver socially relevant content for any website to use at their site. Imagine going to the Apple App Store and seeing the applications that are being used by the people you know. Going to Netflix and seeing the movies that are being watched by people you know. We do this without disclosing to any third-party site who you know, and we do this without sharing who is doing what. This gives all the benefits of a Facebook beacon without any of the privacy issues. We're looking
10
for funding,
seconds.
and we're looking for developers to join our small team, .NET, Azure, and SQL developers. Thank you.
Any questions for Hunter?
What is the
business?
How do you make money?
The business is we basically offer a set of web services on a pay-per-use basis that allows websites to deliver the information. So a website would subscribe to our site, to our web service. When they would ping us with the visitor who's there, we'd return the information they need to display. And we charge them a very small amount for that. So it's a pay-per-use subscription model.
A website buys this service, and then how do they use it?
Website would display information to their visitors that's based upon what's trending in that visitor's social network right now. So they don't, and the visitor doesn't have to be involved in any social network. They basically have to be in the email cloud.
Okay.
Question in the back?
Isn't this what, over here, isn't this what Facebook's Open Social is about?
Isn't this what Facebook's Open Social is about?
Open Social or the Open Graph?
Sort of. The issue is with the Facebook cloud or the Facebook graph, it's a network of participants, and the connections between participants are, you really don't know between any two connections the strength. By using the graph created by the email communication cloud, we know how well people know each other, and we can provide a much better choice of products to show a person.
Can I follow up to that?
Sure. What's the follow-up?
So the follow-up is, why do I care more about what my best friend is watching than, my 20th best friend?
Why do I care more about what my best friend is watching than my 20th
Our interests may not,
best friend?
Our interests and tastes may not be any better. In fact, they may be less consistent.
It's not so much that you care more. I come from the direct mail business. We know that the people who you're most closely associated with are the biggest influencers on what you're going to purchase next. So if we can look at what the people around you who are closest to you are doing and show you those products, the likelihood of you acting on consuming that product is much greater than if we choose it based upon a weaker relationship.
I've got a question from Boston. How do you deal with data privacy?
We don't share the data with anybody that isn't supposed to have it. We use it's really pretty complicated the way we do it, but to simplify it, we share codes that are blind to us. So a retailer would give us codes that are blind to us. We don't know what they mean, and we return those same codes to them so the retailer can decipher it. They already have the information. We haven't exchanged any data we didn't have before, other than to say these codes surround this person's social network. So we deal with the privacy very effectively.
Okay. One more question.
So how do you get access to the emails to set up the network?
How do you get access to the emails?
We have a separate product that we call NQ.com that we give away for free. It allows you to scan your own email communication, build your own social network, and you have full access to that. It turns out that with relatively few number of subscribers, we build a huge social graph because your email communication contains a huge amount of information about people you don't know. So that's where we get the graph.
Great.
Your
Thank
friends give up your information.
Pardon me?
You let your friends give your information for you.
Right.
Yeah, but you let your friends give your information. Great. Thank you, Hunter. So we've got Phaedra up next. And on deck, Kathy Berger.
Hi, everybody. My name is Fedra Crusos, and I'm one of the co-founders of Daily Secret. Daily Secret is an email newsletter, daily email newsletter, that appropriate for this audience, that uncovers a city's hidden secrets, everything from hush-hush events, hidden restaurants, speakeasies, and private sales. We launched our pilot in Athens, Greece, 8 months ago, and in just 8 months, we've grown to 30,000 subscribers, all exclusively through word of mouth, and have become the biggest email newsletter in southwestern Europe. Our audience in Athens is some of Greece's brightest, youngest, and hippest. We have a 30% open rate and an 85% share rate. We have clients like Chivas and Hilton Hotels with whom we create private sponsored and unique events, and that's actually given us the good fortune of being cash flow positive. So now that Athens is up and running and growing at 20% a month in terms of subscriber base, we're looking to expand to 6 additional cities in 2011. And we are an ultralight startup in the true sense of the word. We did this founder bootstrapped in 10,000 euros, in a little under 10,000 euros, and have done all this growth through word of mouth. That's it.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Okay. Any questions?
Yes.
Peter.
You share again the open rate versus the share rate. How are you calculating?
So the open rate is 30%, approximately 30%, and the share rate is 85%. So 85% of our users, once they open the email, they press the share with a friend.
Okay, so you share on the...
Exactly.
35% over rate. What's your distribution rate?
What's the distribution rate?
Once a day, midday.
Day.
Yes.
Right?
I'm sorry, Monday through Friday. Yes. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Question over here? Why Athens?
We are a few co-founders, and half of us live in Athens, so we thought that'd be a good pilot city. We also wanted to be where other daily email newsletters were not, and we found that this was a great way to kind of pilot the idea, get on the learning curve, and now we're starting Milan, Istanbul, and a few others pretty quickly, now that we kind of know the steps and know what to do and what not to do, too, to be honest. Yes?
How have you advertised or let people in on the secret, such as coming to they're signing up to become
How do you advertise?
So it's
and acquire
really,
users?
we spent 10,000 euros mostly in development and just kind of ongoing costs, email costs, but there's been no actual advertising online or offline. Everything, we seeded the market with Facebook friends and Twitter, et cetera, and then grew it that way. So we really have a great share rate, and our users are tremendous in terms of telling their friends secrets.
We have a question from Boston.
Yes.
How is this different from Daily Candy?
So it is in similar ways, an daily email newsletter. Our niche is there's Boston, sorry. Our niche is a city's best kept secrets. So it's more hush-hush events, private sales. We reach men and women. So it's a different field, a different niche, and it's also geographically in a very different place.
Cool. What's the churn rate?
The churn rate, I don't know the churn rate offhand, but I can get that for you. Maybe my co-founder does.
It's like 0.1%.
0.1%.
Those are some remarkable stats, I have to say.
Thank you.
I think you should take over HARO, and you'll have even more success.
For that 0.1%, so 0.1% of the people that sign up quit?
The question is 0.1% of the people quit?
Well, 0.1% is the daily unsubscribed.
The daily unsubscribed, okay.
Daily, that's the daily unsubscriber
That
rate.
sounds a little better. We're kind of questioning the fact that you don't let.
We don't,
you
yes.
Don't let them unsubscribe. That's a good business.
We send them menacing notes, yeah.
Right. One more question?
Anything else?
Yeah?
Good.
Great. Oh, one more question over there.
Yes.
How are you going to manage the growth of your business and marketing? I mean, at what point does something not become a secret if you have, over 30,000 subscribers?
How are you going to manage
Yes.
growth, given that once you
No,
get
that's a
30,000
very-
users, it no longer is a secret? Yeah.
That's a very good point. So what we're doing, mostly we become known, at least in Athens, for events and launches. So people have actually started coming to us. The Hilton Hotel Group came to us when they launched their bar. Another hotel came to us when they launched their cigar lounge. So the secrets kind of keep generating themselves. And I think eventually we'd like to segment the market further so that you're signed up for secrets that you really care about. So you're a woman and you really care about private sales and this area of Athens or this area of the world. So I think if we segment it down enough to people's users' preferences, then we'll get those kind of hone in on those secrets. If that
Right.
helps.
Thank you very much, Phaedra.
A quick question from Boston is which email service do you use?
Which email service?
We use
please?
MadMimi. Yes.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Phaedra.
Kathy Berger. And on deck, Jack, for my mustard. Sure.
Hi, everybody. I'm very new, very small. I'm a one-woman shop. What I tried to do was tap into the New York City metropolitan woman who seriously wants to learn how to look better. Everybody reads magazines, or a lot of women watch the style shows, but women that love fashion really don't have anything to physically go to learn how to look better. So after going to Parsons and FIT, my concept is to tap into the science behind why certain women look great, why celebrities always look great. And I developed a series of classes where my purpose is to sell tickets to seminars and events. And what I need help with is making this company profitable. I get a lot of great feedback about what a good idea it is. I have really substantial people interested in being part of Fashion Society, but I haven't figured out how to make this company profitable. I've done an event with Saks Fifth Avenue. Last night I had a fashion show for 300 people, but I'm not making any money because I'm not selling enough tickets and I'm not selling products. And I probably could be selling something online, but
That's a minute.
haven't gotten there yet. So that's what I need ideas for.
Questions?
So you make money by running events and selling tickets to it?
Correct.
Okay. I mean, it seems natural to either have more people or raise the price of the tickets.
Sponsors?
Ooh, sponsors. Sponsors. I got to get some sponsors are a great idea.
Yeah.
Checkies.com.
Checkies is not the same, no. See, us women.
Partner with experts?
So partnering up with experts and allowing them to draw in their crowd as well, and then maybe sharing the ticket sales. And then you said you're not selling things, well, maybe open up an e-commerce division. It's like, came out to the seminar, like the 10 tops that I showed you, you can go back and buy them now as well.
E-commerce.
That's what I want to do. The thing is, the classes sell knowledge. So other than books,
Well, you can sell the product. You sell the knowledge fashion, right? You can
Sell products.
top, wear that top, buy this top. So you can sell the top.
but it's not, it's like, what should you wear for your body type? And then there's 100 things women should buy if they're a certain body type rather than another one.
But your knowledge is going to tell them that they should buy these products. And if you push them on them, they'll probably buy them because they trust your
Sounds like some good brainstorming for the break. It'll take one more question.
Actually, I just want to say, Kathy, don't give up.
Kathy, don't give up.
Don't give up, and because I know a lot of women, they want their own fashion line. So I think I would really like to hook you up with them, so that maybe you could work together and do fashion shows. You could do the shows for emerging designers. You know, you could work with them. You could get 30% of the cut, or work with them.
And offer to partner
Don't
up
give up.
with.
I like the sponsor idea. I like the selling.
Right.
We're all about solving problems here at Ultralight.
That's right. I think if there are more suggestions, I think this is
Can I
what
ask a
Ultralight
question?
Startup's all about.
Absolutely. Ask a question.
Can I get some feedback on people who have advertising on their websites and get paid by the month? Any good or bad feedback?
I think
if you have a lot of traffic, you can make money. But yeah, you need to have a lot.
If you're not getting enough traffic, it's not even worth the time it takes to go scoop down and put it on your site.
Mhm.
And keep it off. You can build a little more credibility so people won't think it's as commercial on the site.
Okay, thanks, Scott.
Great. Thanks, Scott.
Great.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very
guys.
much. We've got Jack
Thanks.
up, and on deck we've got Nicholas from Social Caddy.
Jack from Microsoft. I'm here to pitch to you iOpenBid. Before I start, I would like to have a quick
Speak
show
right
of
into the
hands.
microphone.
Oh, I would like to have a quick show of hands. How many of you have renovated your home in the past? Oh, better than I thought. So if you have renovated your home, you probably have heard about in the home improvement market, high price markups, low quality service, and salesman tactics even. And iOpenBid uses a unique bidding process to streamline the process of selecting a contractor and put control into consumers' hands. So what that means is if you're planning to renovate your kitchen or bathroom, what you could do is take a picture of your property, post on the website, have contractors give you an estimate, and based on reputation and based on estimate, selectively ask them to come in for an interview. So if you would like to learn more about how iOpenBid can help you in your next home improvement project, or even if you have a great idea and product idea, would like to know how to
10 seconds.
Make the idea into a product very quickly. We are a web startup, we're an ultralight startup, and we are a Ruby on Rails development firm as well. So if you would like to know how to do that, we'll be happy to share our lessons we have learned from you.
Great, thank you. Questions? Down here in front?
Yeah.
How do I know the difference between the contractors who are bidding on my job?
Yeah, it's similar to Angie's List, but I would say that our system is better just because we know exactly who did which job for who. So in that case, the review system is much more objective than Angie's List. So you give a more objective consumer review, real consumer review, not somebody who either like or hate the contractor.
So who will be other people who've already used that contractor reviewing on the site?
So what about the other people who've used the site? Right. Question over here? Right. Jason?
Yeah.
Jonathan.
So, but ahead of the contractors get involved, the people that go on will, requesting particular contractors, or
How do the contractors get involved?
contractors sign up, you're going to end up with contractors that emphasize price versus value, lower end contractors versus higher end.
So the question is how you make sure that you get good quality contractors and not people who just offer a cheaper price. I think what our advice to our consumers is, or users is, normally in home improvement market, you do not want to go with the cheapest. You want to go with middle and higher tier because you get the best value from that tier. And that's the norm in the industry anyway.
Great.
That's it. Yeah.
One more question up there?
Other than the niche market, how would you compete with Red Beacon?
And you got to hold this mic closer to your mouth.
I'm having trouble hearing you in Boston.
So your question is, how do we compete with Red Beacon?
Yeah, they do exactly the same on a larger scale.
How do you compete with other similar companies?
Did you say they work on the larger scale?
Red Beacon is already out there and they're much larger. How do you compete with them?
I actually haven't heard about Red Beacon, but we are focusing mostly currently on the New York City market. That's a niche because in New York City you have lots of co-ops and condos. It's a very different market than the rest of the country, and that's what we want to focus on for now.
Great. We have a question from Boston. What is the cost to the contractor?
The cost of the contractor is essentially free until you really get the job and get paid. So we normally charge 3% of the total sale.
Great. Just take one more question
Well,
up
that
there.
just means that the transaction has to take place on your platform, because otherwise there's no way of knowing. Contractors are notorious for not taking checks, right?
How do you keep people from circumventing you?
Well, the way it works, that's a very good question. The way it works is that when as a consumer or the homeowner, if you see a list of bids from different contractors, in order to contact them, you need to pay a deposit. And the deposit will be deducted from the final cost, but we will not return the deposit to the consumer or the contractor. So essentially, that will be our revenue from the contractor. Does that make sense?
Great. Thank you very much. Okay. One quick question. The liability. So, how do you cover the liability?
We'll talk to the lawyer about it. That's a tricky issue. I don't have a good answer to it, but we're working on it. Yeah.
Great.
But
Thank you very much, Jack.
Nicholas?
And on deck, Akeem.
Hi guys, I'm Nikos Kakavoulis. Apologies for my thick Greek accent. And I'm the CEO of Social Caddy. We actually just launched Social Cat a couple of weeks ago during TechRent's Disrupt, and I'm actually very happy to be here. Social Cat is basically a product for people like me who feel overextended online with just too many friends on Facebook and on LinkedIn and completely unmanageable networks. I'm sure most of you have heard of the term CRM, but you probably haven't heard of the term FRM, Friends Relationship Management. And this is probably why, because Social Cat is the first one. What we do is that we keep you present in the mind of others. And let me tell you how we do that. First, we merge and import your contacts from Facebook, LinkedIn, and Gmail into single unique contact cards. And then, like a superstar personal assistant,
10 seconds.
what we do is that we basically keep track of changes in your networks and contacts, and create tasks that we actually execute on your behalf. Okay, so any questions?
Just finish up explaining.
Okay, great. So I will just give you like a very quick example. So my friend Christopher had birthday today, and Social Caddy had actually prepared a note for him that I had customized and sent it on my behalf. And that's the case also for like new job updates and basically anything that makes sure that my relationship with this person will not fade away, like it has in the past for like tons of other like contacts that I already have in my network.
Questions? One in the back there?
Yeah.
Do you also have a tool to send a thank you email back to the person?
Do you have a tool to send a thank you email back to the person?
That's our plan to destroy internet. You know, we're gonna have the caddy sending notes, another candy thanking back.
One question right in the back there, the black shirt.
Can it send flowers and apology notes?
Can it send flowers and apology notes?
Well, we do send gifts, which is like our business model. Gifts that we know that your friend will like because of the information that we have about your friends. But we don't send apology notes right now. But we keep track of things like job changes, relocations. Even like when your friend gets married, we keep track of all things like that.
Great. One more question right back there.
Yep.
Well, you actually can extract all of your friend data from Facebook?
Can you extract all your friend information from Facebook?
No, we don't extract anything. So we import.
You type information?
You actually import your network to us. So we basically use your Facebook credentials, and we only use information that we get either through Facebook Connect. So it's basically information that you authorize us to use, or information that we get through Xoath, which is for LinkedIn and Gmail, and it's basically the equivalent of FB Connect.
Great, thank you very much, Nicholas.
Thank you too.
And who we had Akeem,
and Pritesh is on deck.
Yes. So is Akeem here? No?
No.
Pritesh, you guys want to come up and do your... We just need to have a website there to log in. Do you want your...
Yeah, I think it's too much of work time.
Yeah, that's fine. Why you have...
Hey, Connor, log in. It'll be there in a minute. So I'll start. By the time he's ready, we'll get to see what we're doing. So my name is Pritesh Damani, and I'm the founder and CEO of Winito. That's WINITO. So the basis of, well, I'll wait for the website to load. So sorry. All right. So the idea is, I'll get into a pitch. So people have an urge to compete, whether it's competing against a group of people or competing against your personal goals. It doesn't matter, but technically we all compete at some levels. So Winito is an online platform, online social platform that helps you manage and track your athletic life. What that means is whether it's a Friday night poker club or your high school soccer team, or it could even be, your even be you planning to train for triathlon. We'll track all your stats and we'll tell you how you're doing over time. So, basically the idea is we need to have a very powerful ranking algorithm that ranks people within the team, and will tell you how you've done over time and will help you manage and attain your goals.
10 seconds.
So obviously our business model is there is ad-based revenue, but at the same time there's subscriptions and for premium features and premium features and branding. So that's pretty much it.
Questions? Jonathan?
People enter their own stats?
Yeah,
Do
so people enter their own
stats?
stats, and we have very customized stats for every different kind of sports. So it could be a football team in a high school, or it could be you training for a marathon, or you could even have goals where you're on a weight gain program or a weight loss program will kind of help you attain your goals.
Question down here?
You thought of integrating it to make it easy for forming pickup games?
Well, yeah.
About integrating some scheduling component to schedule pickup games.
Yeah, so we do already have scheduling in there. So the idea is, depending on the kind of clubs, so the underlying formula is you create your own club. So it could be a poker club, it could be a football club, it could be a Central Park tennis club. So people moving to New York will be able to find these open clubs and actually join them. Not only that, you have schedules there, we have text messaging so that, we kind of make communication easier as well. So we're kind of doing all of that stuff.
I think one more question right in the back of the pink shirt.
How do you go about marketing this?
How do you go about marketing
we
this?
are launching tomorrow. So everybody, this is our first marketing event. And everybody here gets a beta code. It's called, it's Ultralight Startups. That's the beta code. So if you guys want to try it out, please go ahead.
And I hope you've upgraded your servers to be able to handle the load. That's going
Oh yeah. Well, it's as someone else said, it's in a true sense an ultralight startups. All our servers are part of eBay, and it's really going to come down pretty
Awesome.
bad.
I think we have one question from Boston. Is there integration with Nike?
Yes, we are. Well, the problem with all these devices are there are tons of devices out there. We're going to have a standard format and an API. At the end of the next month, we're going to have cell phone apps and APIs coming out. So we're hoping people will help us out, integrate, and feed it into our system.
Great. Thank you very much, Pritesh.
Thanks,
And we got
Pritesh.
Frederick.
Frederick, and then Joe on deck.
All right, hey everybody. My name is Frederick Moreau. I'm the co-founder and CEO of eVisors.com, and eVisors is an online marketplace for advice. What we do is we connect people who have valuable advice with people who are willing to pay for that advice through consultations via email or via phone. And the problem we try to solve with eVisors is to bring great advice and to bring useful information to the masses. Because, as all of you may know, the internet is full of useless information. And at eVisors, we think the solution is to actually talk to somebody in the know. And so what we've done is we've assembled a group of about 500, and it's growing, experts on various topics that you can talk to through this platform, which is completely browsable, searchable, and accessible. And we've been live since September 1st. We're completely bootstrapped, still in beta, and we're looking for a lead developer. So if you're interested, come talk to me. And if you'd like to become one of our experts, you can apply at evisors.com/apply.
10 seconds.
And if you're looking for great advice on demand, you know where to go.
Questions for Frederick? Right in the back, the yellow.
Hi,
sweater.
how do you make money?
How do you make money?
We make money taking a cut off each transaction. And if you become an eVisor on our site, you basically set your own price.
And how does that work for telephone calls?
How does that work for telephone calls?
Does it take place through the site?
We host the telephone calls on our system, as we do the same with the mails, so that we can monitor it.
How is it different from Gerster Lerman?
So Gerson Lerman targets the business-to-business market in a price range of probably around $1,000 per hour, and what we're at is probably around $100 to $200 an hour. And it's more of a consumer-based model with advice for normal consumers, like simple legal advice, simple tax advice, advice on careers, admissions, that type of stuff.
One more question over here. How are you marketing yourself?
We're marketing ourselves in a number of ways, but one of the ways we've found most efficient is actually to team up with content providers. So, for instance, tax advice, teaming up with a tax website and letting visitors to that website click on a link that says, talk to an actual tax expert on this issue.
Great. One question from Boston. How are you different from Live Person?
So LivePerson does more. We think that we have premium advice. We think that we have a premium network. It's a very vetted, high caliber group of experts, and it's a higher price point than LivePerson. And we steer away from topics such as your horoscope and dating advice and that type of stuff, and go to more substantive stuff. So
Great. Thank you, Frederick. One more question from Boston. What credentials certify an expert as an expert?
So we do a process where we think, do you have advice that people would be willing to pay for? That's our main criteria. And then we look at your background and we verify that you are who you are. And in many cases, we actually interview people to make sure that they're legit.
Thank you very much, Frederick. We'll move on. We got Joe from SourcePad up as the last pitch.
The last pitch.
Hi, Joe Chin, founder and CEO of SourcePad. So we use internet video and agile methods to help companies build web, Facebook, and iPhone apps using developers overseas. Now, these developers are specifically selected by us to be English-speaking, to work U.S. hours, even though they're on the other side of the world, and they typically have years of experience working with U.S. companies. They're companies like Visa, Procter & Gamble, Intel. So you get top-quality talent, a low overseas rate, and with our agile system, we usually deliver the best app possible. Now, we've already worked with, I think we're almost up to like 24 companies here through Ultra. So shout out, of course, to Jennifer at the Pickle Club. We have Danya at T. Compton. Deidre at The Week, who just joined us. So if you have any sort of web, Facebook, or iPhone app to be built, please come and speak to me at the break.
Right. Question right here.
Our developers tend to be in the 30s per hour, something like that.
Right. One more question for Joe? No? Great. I think we actually found out we skipped one presenter. So,
Jonathan?
So we got Jonathan up, give.biz. Thank you, Joe.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rosen, founder of Give.biz. We do free online fundraising for nonprofits. So how do we do this? Let's pretend that everyone in this room runs an environmental nonprofit, let's say the Ultralight Save the Butterfly Club. Now, your supporters and donors are huge consumers of hiking and biking equipment and, of course, butterfly nets. Give.biz, what we do is we source those products, we put them on our website, we look for bargains, donations, things like that. Then we ask you to tell your supporters to go to give.bz to buy that stuff. When one of your supporters buys that cool road bike or that state-of-the-art butterfly net, then what we do is we donate up to, or on average, 33% of the revenue back to your charity. So you get free, targeted, cause marketing-based fundraising, and your supporters get bikes and backpacks and nets at or below retail while supporting their favorite charity. And
submit it.
At Give.biz, we're in the business of giving, tagline, and I have my call to action is we're looking for a development partner. So speak to me if you're interested. Any questions?
Questions?
Give.bz.
Thanks.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, so that's everybody, I believe. We have a word from, let's see, our sponsors somewhere. Great. Let's see, I see Peter here. Peter, do you want to talk about Dwayne Morris? Sure. And we'll give you a microphone.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Peter Rothberg. I'm a partner in the New York City office of Dwayne Morris. We're a 750-lawyer international law firm that we do just about everything. My particular practice is specializing in working with young, growing companies and angel networks and venture funds. And I'm already representing 3 ultralight startups companies, StoryArc TV and Meme Networks and Gear Patrol. None of those guys are in the audience today, but I'm also talking with a bunch of your other ultralight fellows who are here about potential representation, and you know who you are. We are very, very proud sponsors of the Ultralight Startups events. We think it's a great part of building the technology community here in New York City. And we're just glad to be here and happy to see all of you guys here too. So thank you.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Peter. I don't believe there's anybody from Seamless Web here. However, I will say that the pizza that you're about to eat has been sponsored by them. So I think you'll appreciate that momentarily. And is there anybody from Microsoft that can talk about BizSpark? And if not, I will. I think there were some Microsoft people here. BizSpark is a program for startups. And the idea is that Microsoft wants you to use their development tools, .NET and ASP and C# and things like that, rather than open source to build your startup. And the way that they can compete with open source is by giving you software for free for 3 years. And if you're still around after that point, you pay $100 and you continue as a Microsoft customer. They also do lots of marketing and consulting, technical consulting, and promotion for you. So it's a great program, and if you are considering your technology platform, Microsoft is a great way to go. And they're here, have offered us the venue today. Do you have a question? All right, yeah, we have a BizSpark company right here. Anybody else using BizSpark? All right, we got a bunch. Everybody knows all about BizSpark. Wonderful. They're sponsoring Joomla Day weekend, and if that doesn't really make the call for you, then I don't know what does. Ultralight Startups December is going to be at NYU Stern School of Business downtown on 4th Street, where we were last month. And we're going to, the title that I'm calling this event so far is From Concept to Website. So you have an idea and you want to turn it into a startup website. How do you do that? Whether that's building it yourself or finding a developer, a co-founder, finding an agency, building a prototype, a minimal viable product, what have you. How do you turn your concept into a site? So that's December 2nd on Thursday, 4 weeks from today. Do we have favorite pitches from Boston or Ustream that we have been? We have compiled a list. Okay, so this is a brand new feature of Ultralight today, which is the people that have been watching in Boston and on Ustream have selected their favorite pitches, who are going to be interviewed right up here while everybody else is having pizza. You'll get to have pizza as well, but you'll just take it. So even more publicity and promotion for your startup and having won that award. So David, who is it that's won?
Well, the people that had the most Twitter buzz and Ustream chat action were Xenophone, NQ, Social Caddy, Daily Secret, and eBay.
Man, okay, so that's like half of them. Well, nobody can hear you, by the way, right now. So, but if you just repeat them to me one by one, that will help. Okay.
Am I live? All right, here we are, coming to you live. We've got Xenophone, NQ, Social Caddy, Daily Secret, and eVisors. Those were the ones that people actually made comments about. Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Great.
That's exciting.
So if that's you, wander up to the front here at some point during the pizza break. And the panelists, if anybody else is being interviewed, Cynthia, I know, is being interviewed, Matt. Otherwise, we have pizza ready for everyone else if you just go out these doors and around the corner. And we'll be back here at 8 o'clock for the panel on the email Mafia.
We are live, back and in the house. So we're going to bring you an interview with Cynthia Franklin. And so just give us 1 minute while we grab her and find out interesting things. We're ready. All right, right over here. So everybody, this is Cynthia Franklin. And Cynthia, tell us who you are and how you're related to this event.
I'm the Senior Associate Director at the NYU Stern Berkeley Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. It's quite a mouthful. And the Ultralight Startups has been working with one of our organizations at the school, the Entrepreneurs Exchange Group, and bringing their events to campus.
So you know Yanni?
Of course, and Pauline, and we work very closely with them. So it's just part of the effort by Stern and those at Stern to be more engaged in the greater business community, and what Graham is doing is just absolutely wonderful.
We enjoy it. We think it's great. So now, what types of programs do you have that you can accomplish these goals with?
Absolutely. Well, what I do is I oversee the co-curricular programs. I also teach, but my main gig, if you will, is overseeing programs like the business plan competitions. So we have several venture competitions. We give out over $200,000 in total.
That's $200,000
in total, and it's not equity. It's a gift to those that compete. Absolutely. We run an innovation and entrepreneurship labs. We have a social entrepreneurship program because a lot of our students are very much interested in the double bottom line. And conferences, so a lot of good stuff. The idea is, you can't learn entrepreneurship in a classroom. You have to get out there and do it. So what I do is oversee programs that facilitate getting out there and doing it.
Wow. Now, I want to give a couple of shout-outs here. Hold on. Because, let's see, you're talking about, you mentioned the business plan competition, which is fabulous. And let's see, also... we mentioned Yoni. Okay, so, and you're from EEG. That's the name of the group?
EEX, I'm sorry. EEG is the undergraduate.
Oh, okay.
EEX, and I better clean that up because I won't be able to go back tomorrow. Sorry.
And then Tech at NYU is
Tech at NYU is another group. Very wonderful students, but they're obviously, as the name implies, they're tech-focused.
Yes.
And so we actually do have a pretty aggressive and engaged student population that are looking at entrepreneurship. And it's no surprise you see more interest in entrepreneurship among the students that are coming in. Wasn't always the case. But
so have you found, like, in recent years, entrepreneurship is coming more, less job security in the big corporate market?
David, it's less job security. I'm a little older, just a little.
No.
I know. It's hard to believe. But when I was coming up, a lot of the stars were like the Lou Gessners and the Jack, I can't even think of their names, at GM. Yeah, and they were corporate managers. But now for these students, this is a whole generation that's grown up with, Gates or Jobs or...
Right.
So, and that's
Zuckerberg
and these are their heroes. This is what they know, and so this is what you do. It's just what they do, and so I'm glad to see that because it doesn't have to be one or the other, and it's important because this is where our innovation comes from. It's where jobs and creation is where wealth comes from, entrepreneurship. So it's really delightful to see that our students are moving and shifting more in that direction. So my job is, as I see it, and don't tell anyone, is to really wrestle from corporate America's clutches our talented students and kind of show them another way to the
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you, and we'll maybe speak to you again later. All right. So we're going to bring you some more exciting interviews. Who do we have lined up next? We're ready. We're ready to keep this party rocking. We got Matt. We got so many people. Dan. All right. I'm going to kick it to Matt and Dan.
Thank you, David. This is Matt Wilson for Under 30 CEO. Matt, how long have you known about ultralight startups?
I've known about ultralight startups for, I'd say, about a month.
Oh, just a month?
Yeah, I'm new to the ultralight community.
Wow. So how do you like it so far? Are you pretty excited?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think there were a lot of good pitches, and I also enjoyed how they actually gave feedback to a lot of the people. And some people just went up there and said, hey, I'm not sure how to make money yet. And people were able to give some really valuable insight.
Have you ever pitched here before?
At Ultralight? No.
Okay. And out of all the pitches, which one did you like the best?
The more I started to think about it, the athletic one, I really liked that. My roommate in college actually was addicted to Madden, and I'd come back from class, and all of a sudden he'd be like, oh, Ryan Jaswell, number 37, he just had 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. And I was like, why don't you go tell somebody who cares? But now he can.
Right. Now, that was Winnetou.com?
I believe so.
So let's talk about you, and what is your company, and when did you start it?
Sure. So I run a company called Under30CEO.com, and basically we're here to help small businesses start, but do it the right way and with fewer mistakes and for less money. So we give discounts to small businesses, and then we also provide content to be able to tell people, hey, let's cut through the fluff, because if you want to start a business, sure, you could read 500 different resources out there, and you're going to be totally confused and not know where to start. And we'll break that down for you, tell you exactly what you have to do in a nice, clean, concise way, and get you on the road to making money.
So your site basically is just purely content?
It is content, but then we also partner with very specific vendors whose services that we really believe in, and we say, hey, let's get our audience a discount. So through that, we'll offer, we'll work with companies like Grasshopper for phone services, and we'll say, okay, you need a phone service, you're starting a business, well, this is the person that you need, and then we'll offer a discount on their service.
And I'm very, very slow, even though I'm tall. Sometimes, I don't know, my brain is too high up. Under 30, what does that imply?
It's only about the mindset. It's kind of like 17 magazine. Not everybody is 17 who reads it. There's a lot of older people who read our site and really, really like it. There's actually a Twitter handle that just popped up the other day that I saw, over 60 CEO, so pretty cool.
And how old are you?
I'm 24.
24 years old. Wow. And how old do you think I am?
I would say, Dan, I'd say that you're, I'll go with 29.
I am not a girl. I am 37.
7. All right, Dan.
All right.
You're not too old for our site. It's really about the mindset.
And how did you make your company profitable?
Basically, it took a while, but as we grew the traffic, we were able to sell advertising on the side and start working with the vendors, who will then give us a small referral fee for bringing the best services to our audience.
And how much money did you have to sink in yourself just to get it started?
I can gladly say that we are ultra light, and we started by developing the site in India for $150.
Wow. Well, I think that's a showcase for ultralight startups. $150, not bad. Thank you very much. I'm not very good with a microphone, but we're going to get the next bit. But thank you very much.
Sounds good, Dan. Thanks.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Jennifer, and we are with Jason. Hi, Jason.
Hi, how you doing?
Talking to us.
You're welcome, my pleasure.
Jason is the founder of PadPressed and the co-author of OnStartups.com.
Yep, you got it right. Very cool.
So, which one would you like to talk to us about first?
Well, let's talk a little bit about on startups, actually, since we're here about email and content, and that's actually kind of what got me here was my writing. I was originally writing under my own name, and then joined up with Dharmesh Shah, who's another great entrepreneur, and our goal is just to help and inspire entrepreneurs and write good stuff and email. A lot of this panel, actually, Chris is an email newsletter because he read something I wrote on email, and we coined the term the email mafia. So that's a basic gist, and actually we'll be getting into the email game a little bit too.
Okay, so tell us about OnStartups.com, and what is the concept of that, and what do people do on it?
Yeah, so basically I think about 5 years ago almost, Dharmesh started writing. We became friends about 5 months ago ourselves, and he said, hey, I know you're writing on your own thing. We're getting a pretty good audience. It was about 100,000 people at that time, and he said, would you like to join a bigger audience and reach more people and co-author with me? And I was always a fan myself, and I said, yeah. So that's the basic gist of it. We write hopefully once a week, good useful tips for entrepreneurs. I write very long form, about like 3,000 words an article, and that's the basic gist. There's also answers.onstartups, and we have a big Facebook group, I think like 10, 11,000 people, just to connect with other entrepreneurs and help them out.
Okay, and what is the monetization aspect of it?
Honest truth, it's just a labor of love for us. We all run our own companies, and we want to help other people who are like us when we first got started. So that's honest truth, basic gist on it.
That's a very noble and wonderful venture, especially coming from an entrepreneurial background. But, in terms of success, like you guys obviously do it because people must be reading and viewership. So what is your idea of a success?
So I think success to me is waking up every morning and getting, literally, this sounds cheesy, but getting comments from 10, 15, when an article goes out, 100 people saying, you really helped me, you changed my life, or just personal emails from people. To me, that's success. Like, I've gotten a decent amount of times people emailing me, but the fact I did it once, like, mission accomplished. So that is success to me, is helping inspire entrepreneurs.
Now, you mentioned, Email Mafia.
Yes.
I know that you were the one that wrote Email for Serious Business. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. I don't know what I was doing or investigating, and I came across a lot of these little email newsletters. Well, not little, they're actually very big. And then I started looking at it more, and there was a model around it. Then there were a lot of them. Then I started looking at the business behind it, really analyzing. I said, wow, because everything is social network, the COO of Facebook saying, well, email is dead. I think she's silly, right? Like, email is very well and alive and more profitable than any other type of content company you could start. And that's the basic gist. I just started looking into it. There were tons of them. Really wrote a deep analysis of it, then followed it up when there were more. And at some point, I'm going to write a third one because there's way more than I ever thought. So, yeah.
And that's based on subscription rates.
Yeah, so it's basically part subscription rate, but it's also the fact that the value is so high for advertisers because what they do is they'll do a once-a-week advertorial, right? Or in each email have on the sidebar, a maybe 50-word thing of this is what's going on, but it sounds like it's from the editor, and it's something interesting to that audience, right? Like their list does some beer, I think or tequila, it's something that's to wealthy young men, right? So yeah, that's the basic gist, and it works really well and very profitable.
What are some tips that you would give some people that are just starting up or that would be interested in expanding their subscription?
So I guess let's say they're just starting out. If you're going to do it, I would say there's 3 things you want to follow as a formula, right? First is identify a unique type of person or a unique what is the topic about? So I'll take Idealbyte, for example. They were sold to Disney for about $20 million. Only 150,000 subscribers, to give you an idea. They gave you a daily green living tip, right? That's it, right? Once a day in your email box, you're interested in green living. That's the first part. Who are you targeting? What is the topic? Green living. Second is, though, what is the demographic you're targeting? It has to be very, very valuable. Well, the ones usually interested in green living, women specifically, were, wealthy soccer moms, a valuable demographic who will pay money. So that's second, valuable demographic, specific topic is first. Third is, when you email them, give them a short tip. We've identified that it's about 250 to 400 words each one. So once a day, daily useful tip that isn't like the news, right? So if you read, any of the tech blogs, they're just the news. It's like checking the Weather Channel. This is something actionable that every day you can read. Let's say a green tip, how to be actionable, and it's targeted towards the demographic. Follow that formula, and I think there are tons of them out there, and you will do very well. I would say to grow it first, probably pick somewhere that a lot of the community, right? You actually, if you're going to do, let's say, a daily video game one, right? Be a video gamer, right? If it's going to be fashion tips, be in the fashion industry, right? Do something you know.
There's a lot of noise out there, and a lot of people, are doing similar things, and they are following their passions. How do you be that one email that everyone wants to open? Because even then, there would be 100 behind you that do exactly the same thing.
Sure. There's a lot of content sites like blog. I think the great thing about email is it's got retention built in, right? So you look at Groupon, which is $1 billion plus company, right? I'll tell you right now, most people would never keep going back to find a bunch of mani-pedis, right? The fact that they have email, that you get it every day, that's much different. So by being an email company, that already makes you stand out above everybody else. So how do you do it? I think great content. I think great content that people love and enjoy. I think the same way if you look at a tech startup, you should always have a tech founder. Have a great writer as a founder. Don't outsource it. Write great content and great things happen. I know that sounds cheesy, but that's actually what I believe to be the truth. So.
It's awesome tips. Okay, so Jason, we're going to hear more about you and in your company on the panel, and we look forward to hearing more of your tips. So thank you for sharing.
Great, thank you. I appreciate it.
And now we're going to have David. David, you want to come up?
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Come on, Frederick. All right, so you've already heard from this gentleman over here, and apparently you liked what you heard, because we got some interest, and we're here to ask you a couple of follow-up questions. I actually don't have any particular follow-up questions that I'm interested in, and the panel was more about, or online they were like, this is just a cool idea. So there was a general consensus of awesomeness, really, is what it boiled down to. So I guess ultimately, if I wanted to become an e-visor, right, because I see that's how I would interact with this system, because I'm a technical expert. That's my expertise. How does that process work?
So basically, you'd go to evisors.com/apply, and you fill out a brief form, which has, a brief information about your bio, and then the skills you think that you can provide that people would be willing to pay for.
Now, the skills I think I can provide, right? So I might think I'm pretty good at, weaving baskets.
Sure. If you think you're good at weaving baskets, list that as your skill. What we try to do is we assess that versus what we know people are paying for on the system. If it's valuable, if we can verify your background that you are who you say you are, we'll let you onto the system. And if we're in doubt, we actually call you up and we interview you just to make sure.
Okay, so it's not a completely automated process. You're actually interviewing and calling live to make sure these advisors really are. Do you call them e-visors?
We call them e-visors. That's what they are. That's the name.
So you make sure they're real.
We make sure they're real, and the part of the system that's automated is when you become an e-visor and you get customers, that's all automated on the system. We do the scheduling, the reporting, the payment, it all happens automatically. But it's very important to us to have a really high-quality network, and so we actually do that manually to manually vet people.
So what is the biggest challenge that you've experienced, and how is Ultralight helping you to now overcome those challenges?
So Ultralight for me has been just a great environment to learn, to hear people's experiences, and to hear the panelists talk about how they've succeeded.
So you're getting some advice.
I'm getting a lot of great advice, and as a bootstrapping company, it's great to get moral support from a group of other bootstrappers and to get useful tips.
There was actually a post saying that everybody in this room and out there in the blogosphere, whatever you call them out there, should actually sign up to be e-visors, right? Because we know a lot about the whole bootstrapping thing, and maybe that's the niche. You're e-vising other startups.
I would love nothing more than everyone to sign up. I guess the issue is that being ultralight startuppers and being bootstrappers, you're also very stingy. So I don't know what the willingness to pay for our advice is, but I hope there's some willingness out there.
Well, Frederick, thank you so much for coming back out and talking to us, and best of luck with your business.
Thank you.
All right, let's grab our next wonderful host, and we're going to pull him back over here. Jennifer, are we ready for somebody else? Does Dan have somebody? Oh, we've got just too many choices. We're spoiled for choice. Oh, Pickles, yes. All right, Pickles. We've got a pickle convention coming on. Jen, you're going to do this one. Absolutely.
How are you?
Hello, how are you?
I've never been better. How do you do?
Well, I'm Jennifer.
How do you do, Jennifer?
So, we saw your pitch.
Yes.
Hear more about it, so
Sure.
just getting a
Well,
quick
okay. What my company does is that our goal is fewfold. One is to track every single person who's responsible for our growth. We want to know who helped us grow, and we want to reward them infinitely forever, So, we only take people by invitation, and that way we can see every single person back to the beginning. Gmail grew by invitation, so it only grew from 10 people. So people should know, Google should actually reward the people invited, but they don't do it. Same thing with Facebook. All these things grow by invitation, but nobody gets rewarded for being the first 100,000 who basically make it. So our goal as a company, the first thing was to make sure we reward the people who helped us grow. The second thing is, what we like to do is that as the transactions in the internet get smaller and smaller and smaller, the problem is that when people say they're not willing to pay for music, they're just not willing to pay the old price for music, but they're willing to pay the real cost, which is hundreds of thousands of cents, So what we wanted to do is create a platform for transferring thousands of cents, and which we do on every single transaction that goes through. We transfer over millions of cents. We've given out nano dollars, and we gave already 700,000 endorsement fees, whatever, for people joining our site. So that's just the marketing. Because people are incentivized to grow. We were able to grow. The main problem with internet sites is basically marketing. Okay, do you want to stop?
Sorry,
Stop.
we are wrapping this up, but just really quickly, just tell us your name. And
My name is Baruch. My phone company is Xenophone, and it's xenophone.com, but you can't sign up without invitations.
Thank you. Thanks for the break.
Once again, my name is Graham Lawler. I'm still the organizer of Ultralight Startups. So we made it through the pitches and the pizza, and now we get on to the panel, the headline of this event. So everybody has found their seat. I would like to say, first of all, I consider the star of this panel to be Peter Shankman. Not only is he a genius with email, which we'll get into later, he's also one of the three people that I have in my own presentation about ultralight startups, and what can be done with little to no capital and no external capital. He has taken a Facebook group, migrated that to an email newsletter, and in the course of 2 years' time, with no external capital, sold it for a privately known sum of money that is reported to be $20 million. So presumably this is all, he's done this all on his own. Reportedly. I don't know which of you guys reported on that, but I'm getting it from you.
I can't wait to find out the person who actually broke that number.
I think it was me.
It might have been.
I think it's him.
I reportedly broke it, all right?
Chris McCann is co-founder of Startup Digest, which is an email newsletter that was going to tell you about events, much like Ultralight Startups, including Ultralight Startups. We'll tell you about the best events that are going on in any given city. There's about 40 or 50 cities at any given point in time. 53. It's hard to keep track of all the cities covered by Startup Digest, but we will hear about many of those. And I see him as a junior version. A year from now, the whole thing is going to shift over, and Chris is going to be talking about how he sold out for $20 million. Reportedly. Who knows what people report on these days? Greg Cangialosi is an esteemed individual as well. He has spoken on, this is his third Ultralight Startups event that he has spoken on, which puts him in a very elite group of, I think, maybe one or two other people, if that. First one was about a year ago on email marketing, and we're here reprising that topic today. He comes all the way from Baltimore, so thanks very much to Greg. He's the founder of Blue Sky Factory. I should mention that.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Awesome. And Jason Baptiste is the curator of the Boston version of Startup Digest, and also writes for On Startups, and is he the founder of the originator of the term email mafia, or was that Chris?
Chris is email mafia. Email is serious business. Serious. Yeah. Serious business. Very serious. Yes.
So he wrote at least two very influential blog posts, which now have brought all you into this room, ultimately, telling you about why email is the future. And, people might say email is not cutting-edge technology, but we are here to tell you why it is and why it's a great platform to bootstrap on. So thank you very much to all these guys for sharing their wisdom. So I think, let's see if I can control the slides here. Let's start with why email. So, we have blogs, we have websites, we have RSS feeds, many social media platforms. Twitter is very hot. Facebook has been hot. Why, after all that stuff, would we choose email to create a startup on? Peter, you want to start with that?
Sure. I believe, first of all, anything I say, feel free to tweet. My name is Peter Shankman. You're all welcome to take anything you get out of this, hopefully. Except if you're here from Cook's Source. You're not allowed to take anything. But everyone else, you are. I think that email is still the ultimate killer app, and I believe it always will be. The fact of the matter is that Twitter's great. It's 140 characters. Text messages are great. It's 160 characters. Facebook is great. You have to log on and use it. And do we really use Facebook's email? Email is email. It is what we know. It is what we use, and it works. It is interruptive, and it tells us the information we want when we want it. The only downside to email is that it is, from a mobile world, for someone like me, it is not useful if it has HTML. It's not useful if it has graphics. But text-based email is still going to save the world, and it is for something like HARO, it is the ultimate in ease. It is simple to read. It's simple to act on. Email makes life very simple, and you don't need a lot of bells and whistles. You don't have to sign up, to read your email. You don't have to accept a cookie to read your email. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You don't have to like something or friend something to read your email. You just read your email, and that's not going away.
How many people have used or read or subscribed to HARO right now?
Sweet.
All right. So that's almost
Thanks,
everybody.
Ed.
For those few people who don't, and
really,
I'm not going to name names. What is, Peter, you want to give a quick summary while I try and bring up your site?
Yeah, I created a Facebook group back in November of 2007 called Help a Reporter Out. Or no, if I can help a reporter out, I will. And essentially it was a Facebook group that reporters would constantly send me queries. Hey, Peter, you know everyone. I'm working on a story on this or on that. Who do you know? And I would forward these queries to this group. And in March of 2008, we got too big for Facebook, so I moved it to the web. You simply sign up, and 3 times a day, you get an email from me, from my staff, that has roughly 60 to 70 queries from journalists, ranging from the Wall Street Journal to USA Today to Oprah to Jon Stewart, all around the world, looking for sources. Everyone in the world is an expert at something, whether it's what you do for a living, or whether it's what you do at home, whether it's fantasy football, whatever it is, you're an expert at it. And there's no reason why you shouldn't be in the media. I started it as a favor to my friends. When I moved it off of Facebook, it had 500 members. When I sold it to Vocus in June of this year for a reported amount of money, it was a little over 150,000 members who 3 times a day would get our emails with approximately a 72% open rate. Not return rate, but actual open rate. 3 times a day, 72% open rate, because the information we give is valuable. And that's really you want the key to email, and then we can all go home. Send out valuable content. Send out valuable content. People will open your email. So HARO was built on that. I never planned on making money at it until a reporter, an advertising person for American Apparel called me, and this is what she said. She said, most of the people on your list, at the time, most people on my list were PR people. She goes, most people on your list are PR people, and they're the ones you see on TV, and they're really thin and hot, and they wear our clothing, right? And I remember I was sitting on the couch in my sweats, and I'm like, yep. that's us. And I couldn't hear you, I had pizza in my ear. And then, so American Apparel started advertising, and since then we've had tremendous success with one small text ad on HARO, and that's how it was started and built and sold.
Wow, fantastic.
Who is American Apparel? Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a different story.
So, Greg, why? What do you think email is good?
I just think, just to trail off what he was saying, I mean, Peter's business is a perfect example of why email is so powerful. I mean, it's timely, relevant content, going back to your point. I mean, it's 3 times, anyone who can get away with sending an email out 3 times a day and get 72% open rates consistently. I mean, I'm on that list too, and I read it, and I'm so glad you added those anchor tags at the top so you can just jump right down to the area, because I'm not going to respond to, certain things like lifestyle.
Breast milk.
I'm like, yeah, exactly. So, no, I just wanted to comment on that. I mean, that is the Uber, his execution of email is the Uber, it makes it the Uber app.
Can any content be on email, or is there certain things that are best on email rather than a blog or vice versa, or a website?
I mean, I think you can deliver any kind of content via email. Obviously, there's, when you get into other forms of media like video, et cetera, it gets a little challenging with rich media and the blocking of all that kind of stuff. But, small bits of information that maybe push people back to a website to read bigger stories is very common. But content in general, as long as, to Peter's point, as long as it's relevant to the audience it's being sent to, it can be sent via email. And just to go back to your original slide here, I mean, think about behavior, right? I mean, everybody in this room probably checked their email several times. People are probably checking it right now. It's where the eyeballs are. So email is still very much more relevant today than ever before. In fact, when we got into this whole, I don't know what it was about, this whole email is dead thing, RSS is going to kill email, social media is going to kill email. Well, when you think about it, right, I mean, Twitter, Facebook, et cetera, all the social media tools, your behavior is really driven back to those sites from email. So someone friends you on Facebook, someone writes on your wall, someone follows you on Twitter, someone does whatever it is, you get the alert via email because that's where your attention is, and then you go back to the social media world that you're living in. To me, it's just all about behavior.
Well, I'm going to actually take back on that. Not any content should be an email newsletter, right? So let's say, for example, TechCrunch, which I love to death, right? But it's kind of like the weather. You need to check it to know whether it's going to rain, whether it's going to be sunny, right? It's not actionable. If you look at anything like a Daily Candy or a Thrillist, I'm kind of, even like what Peter's done with Horrible, it's actionable and it's useful. And it's actually short if you look at the Daily Candy or Thrillist. Somebody did an analysis of all those type of pilot group companies. They're 250 to 400 words once a day, actionable items with really great written content. So don't take a 3,000 word post that is rehashing that Twitter has a new failed advertising platform for the day and send that out via email. All right, do something actionable and short. So I just want to put a little bit of caution there before this is email.
I will agree with that. There's another company out there that tried to do what HARO did, and here's how they did it. They had one query from a journalist, and they had 3 ads about their upcoming events. Then they had another query from a journalist. Then 3 more ads for 3 more upcoming events. So they basically had 3 queries and 9 ads. And
so they should have 9 times your revenues, right?
Yeah, I was right. And I was shocked to find that didn't work. So, look, guys, it comes down to this. Know your friggin' audience.
Yeah, exactly.
All right? Don't send me stuff. First of all, anyone who sends me stuff, I read 95% of my email on the road on my BlackBerry. Okay? If you're sending me HTML, I am not reading it. Okay? Ever. I cannot stress that enough. I'm not saving it to go back. No, it's gone. Okay? I'm not reading it. So if sending me HTML, send me graphics, send me images, gone. That's number 1. So know your audience. There might be people that only read email at home or on their iPad. They might love that. Use that. So know your audience. That's number 1. Number 2, brevity. Brevity rules. Brevity is great. So I don't want to read a 12-page tome from my girlfriend. Okay, let alone from an advertiser. Okay, you know what brevity is? You want to know how to get brevity in this world where everyone's trying to get to us? You want to know what brevity is? Learn to write. Take a class. Bad writing is killing America. Okay? Take a class. Learn to write. Good writing is brevity. Brevity is good email. Those are your rules. That's it. It's that simple.
Very simple.
Oh, and don't use porn or mortgage in your subject.
And the other thing, just like you have on the screen here, though I know we talked about this in advance, is the whole concept of push versus pull, right? I mean, all these other things are, you got to go out and, email is a push mechanism, So to your point, making the content actionable, the receiver is at the, is beholden to the sender. The email is going to show up when the sender hits the send button. All those other mediums, you have to go out and fetch. You have to fetch RSS feeds. You have to go engage and log into Twitter, go engage and log into Facebook, et cetera. So that's why I think there's a big case for email in terms of being more relevant than ever.
Yeah, I mean, once you sell a consumer, once you get their email address,
Right into it.
and they get your email. They're only going to stop getting your emails when they unsubscribe. So forever you have that customer. It's like the sales process. Sell them once and they're forever your customer. They're almost like a user. They're almost like a subscription. It's not really like a blog visitor. It's a very different dynamic. Like a TechCrunch needs to pull people in every single day, and like it's really freaking stressful. When we get a subscriber, they get our email. So
yeah, well, real quick, we're going to go to e-commerce at some point, but everybody knows Groupon. They're worth $1 billion plus, right? Like, honest truth, if Groupon was not an email, would you go back every day to find another random mani-pedi or yoga class? No, you wouldn't. It's because it's email. Once every 2 weeks it's useful and you get $50 of a mani-pedi for $100, right? And that is why they are a $1 billion, 12 million person email list with great writing. That's all Groupon is, right? That's it.
Fastest growing email list in history, fastest growing value, fastest company to go from 2008 to now to go to $1 billion valuation ever. So the fastest growing company really ever.
Okay, let's keep in mind also that every single study that comes out of late says that it only works for about 20% of Groupon's buyers. So let's not. It could be the next Pets.com. Let's
it very well could be, yes.
And I saw that sock puppet about 2 years ago on 23rd and 11th at 2 in the morning. You would have done whenever I wanted.
Somebody give him $1. Yeah.
I will say this though, you made a very, very valid point. People always ask, dude, can I please have the HARO is an RSS feed? No, you can't, because if you get an RSS feed, you're really going to look at it 3 times a day. No. You know how long you have? The average. Here's a tip. The average length of time you have between the time the HARO comes out and the time the reporter gets what he or she needs. Anyone want to guess?
2 hours. 2 minutes.
90 minutes.
90
minutes. You have 90 minutes. Well, you don't, because by then they've already found it. So I'd say you have 45 minutes to answer that HARO query. Okay? That lends itself to the power of email. The HAROs get delivered all within 3 minutes of each other. Okay? So if you get that HARO, you get 150,000 people all trying to compete for those things. Your best bet, answer quickly. But you're not going to get, could you imagine if that was on RSS, the reporter has a deadline in an hour and a half and it goes out on RSS? 2 hours later, report, we got a problem. Email is the most interruptive out there. And it's some would argue that Twitter is more interruptive, but I can't put everything I need to put in 140 characters ever. So yeah, and if you look at in terms of go back one more time, just in terms of capital technology costs, also Twitter is free. Email costs. We ran the first year of HARO for $50 a month was our email startup cost. We used a company called and looking back on it, I would have done the entire thing through you, no doubt.
Thank you.
But for the first year, we did use a company called Aweber. And Aweber is a small. They're great if you're a small email, if you're a small company just starting out, but they don't guarantee sends. They don't guarantee that all your emails will go out immediately. They might. So there were times the first year where we had, we are a time-specific company, and there were times that our emails were held, for a little bit, or they went into a queue. They're a good company. They did a great job for what we paid them. $50 a month. You're not going to get, the world and flowers and puppies, but we got what we needed, and it was $50 a month. That was our startup cost for the first year.
Awesome. So revenue models, how do you make money through email? Are there particular revenue models that make more sense than websites, or what are the revenue models specific to email?
I mean, advertising is the Uber one.
Spam.
I think the concept of spam. I think the concept of paying for subscription is, I don't know. Have you guys seen that work really well?
No.
I see that's hard because everything's so free now. So paying for subscription, even though the content might be very valuable and very relevant, it's hard. So you have to be ad-supported.
Yeah, the only one I've seen actually work is Bloomberg just announced their newsletter. So their newsletters are charging $3,000 a year for, and I think they have about 100,000 subscriptions already. And they're planning to do, I think, 300,000 to 400,000 subscriptions.
But think of who they are. They're Bloomberg. Right. If you have that kind of audience that needs that kind of, there's some stock newsletter. The guy charges $25,000 or whatever a year to send out 4 emails a month. But from those 4 emails, if you know what you're doing, you're going to make $1 million on those stocks. Right. That's not what we're talking about here. If you have that, dude, you don't need to be sitting in an ultralight startup event. You know, I think that in terms of, if you're planning on making money from email, you can't do it. You can't do it through subscription. The only people that ever made money from subscription were porn, Disney, and the Wall Street Journal. 2 of the 3 of those have failed. Which one do you think is, you know? So I've heard. So I've heard. So I've heard. Yeah. So don't plan on making money using subscription. It's not going to work.
So,
Excuse me.
Let's see.
I'm fine.
So how much money can you expect to make on an ad, or how do you sell ads? Is it the same? Are there ad networks? Do you have people coming to you and beating down your door saying, you know, I want to be in Startup Digest?
Yeah, I mean, most of the ads are direct sales, so we don't go through ad networks or third parties. I mean, the slice of revenue you're going to get is lower and lower and lower. And the main benefit we have is we have a very specific targeted audience, entrepreneurs, founders, developers, that our brand advertisers are interested in reaching. So the format that we use is called an advertorial, so it's a little editorial written advertisement on top of all the events, because kind of similar to HARO, ours is more informational content. It's about the events going on in your specific area. So on top of that, we slice in a little advertorial, personally written by me, promoting kind of one company, product, campaign, promotion, that sort of thing. And we charge on a CPM on a person basis.
Awesome. Is that how all email lists monetize?
We have clients who, most of our clients are selling on a CPM basis, so how many impressions, and some are actually doing performance-based advertising, which is a little trickier, like cost per click or cost per action, cost per lead, whatever in that case. A little harder to sell, and you have to have you have to have a great list, you have to have great content in order to get somebody to buy into that. Most of it's CPM though, you know. So the higher quality the list, the higher quality the content, the higher the CPM you can buy.
And what's the range of prices for an M? For a CPM?
For an M? For an M? Let me think. I'm just thinking about some of our publishing clients. We have clients that are more in volume, so the CPMs are below $20, and then we have clients that sell, $100 CPMs, which is very expensive. It just depends on the audience. The financial and the B2B clients, they get a higher CPM because they're trying to reach those people who have segmented their list, have surveyed their audience, who have a good media kit, who can tell them the kind of people they're going to get their ads in front of, can charge higher CPMs. And of course, the ads have to perform. So like any good advertiser, they're going to look at the metrics, they're going to see what's working, and then make a
And that's based on opens, or that's based on
opens and clicks. Is your ad getting responded to? Is the ad resonating with the audience it's being sent to? Are they clicking? Where are they going? Are they converting? Are they what's the end goal?
So it's all advertising, and it's all CPM basis, and it's $20 to $100 per.
I mean, it's a big range, but I'm sure people are charging a lot less for that too.
I will say that we never did that, and the reason we never did that is because when I started HARO, I was never good at math. I wasn't going to sit there and figure out how many people we had versus how much money that times what it. No.
Yeah, but your model's better. You just charge.
I came up with a number.
Just a number.
I came up with a flat. Yeah, it's a flat. Essentially, HARO. Sure words. An ad in each HARO. In the morning HARO, in the afternoon HARO, in the evening, they're $1,500 for an ad in the master HARO, and that's the one that goes out to 150,000 people. And then we have smaller vertical lists that just have business or just have finance or just have technology and things like that, and those range from $300 and up. But essentially, when you're looking to figure out how to price it the way the market will bear. The first ad I sent out, the first ad I charged for HARO, I think I charged $100 for. And when someone paid that, I said, okay, cool, let's see if I can charge $150, and someone paid that. And I charged $200, and someone paid that. And then we just kept going and going and going, and people kept paying and paying and paying because the results they got were great. And also, if you do have advertisers, when you're first starting out, when you have advertisers, if they have good results, get them on video. Nothing is stronger than an advertiser who's like 3 hours after their ad runs and they get all their orders and they're so psyched. Get them to shoot a video of themselves and how, this is the happiest day of our life. We played for our ad 8 times over. Blah, blah, blah. You will get countless new advertisers from that 1 minute video.
I'm noting that down.
Yeah, cannot recommend that enough. We had a guy who was he was a rabbi, and he advertised on HARO. I think he's like a life coach or something. He advertised because he called me. And he goes, "We got these great results." I'm like, "Will you send us a video?" And it's this video of this guy, full rabbi gear, right? and I'm Jewish, I can say that. And he said, "Oh, it's the best money I ever spent. The money I took care of." It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. But put it out there, we got so much exposure. You get so many great new advertisers from that one little ad of him jumping up and down. It's great.
You make me mention that on tonight's blast.
Yeah. Good, you read. See, someone reads the HARO.
awesome. So are Gilt and Groupon, which we talked about as email-based companies, is that a derivative of an advertising-based model, or is e-commerce something different?
I mean, like everything you can equate to like a CPM or CPA, right? If you do the right math, like, you know, it's how you put it. I mean, with them, they basically, I mean, Groupon and Gilt, they are basically not even like useful content where it's, part advertising. They are all advertising, right? Like when you sign up for Groupon or Gilt, like you're signing up for an email that is an advertisement, but it's useful because it's a deal, right? The utility is the deal you get. You get that $50 mani-pedi for $20. You get that like.
What is up with you and the mani-pedi?
That's all I get from them. And I'm like, well, I don't need a mani-pedi. Like,
not anymore. Your hands look great.
Like, yeah, my hands are great. Yeah. I mean, maybe one day they just really want me to buy one. Anyway, or you look at like Gilt, they've got great fashion, a low price. There's utility in that, right? Oh, I can get something that's normally a $250 jacket for like $70. Like that's useful to me. Like I want that type of advertising. It's almost like the Google level useful of like, yeah, well, when you search Google and an ad comes up that actually is targeted to what you want, you're like, oh, I'm going to click on that because there's utility to the advertising. It's not an interruption of, well, yeah, like you've just won a free iPod Nano. I think I've won about 1,000 of them. Like, it's a very different thing. So.
Okay. Maybe we should take some questions. Anybody have a question so far?
The guy in the back has had his hand up literally since it started.
He's behind the column, so
he's behind the column.
Since the start. But anyway, I used to work in the direct mail world, and it's funny that I used to work with this guy called Gary Halpert. They called him Direct Mail King, and he basically had the opposite approach that you do for email. He would say that when you send out a letter, the letter has to be as long as possible. He would literally send out 8 or 9 page letters to people. And actually, the longer the letter, the more successful.
The question? What's the question?
The question is, why do you think that is? Why is it that when we get a letter in the mail...
Why do you think that is?
I don't think that is.
Well, we found out that is true.
Okay, that is not is. There we have it.
It was not was.
I don't remember. Okay, right here, question.
Are there traffic benchmarks? At which point you think it's realistic to even think about starting to sell or subscriber benchmarks?
At what point can you start to sell advertising based on a certain amount of traffic?
Say it depends on your list.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say like it's not about the quantity of the email list. It's really about the quality and the engagement. I mean, again, I'm pointing at him over there, 72% open rates 3 times a day. I don't know. It's probably varies. I mean, that's you could have had 5,000 subscribers and probably start to sell your ads for, I don't know, about $1,500 a pop. But I mean, I think the audience.
People like round numbers, so I think your benchmark should end in 0, things like that. But there's a benchmark. You get 1,000 people, and if you have 500 people that your list is targeting very, very, very specifically. I mean, if you're targeting something really specific, you can sell I call it the itch to niche. If you're targeting a really, really sharp niche. There's a reason that there are like some magazines, and I of course can't remember any of the names of them, that are really targeted towards just total geeks in a certain segment. That sell for like $300 subscriptions a year because they're that targeted and they're that segmented. And the ads in those go for thousands of dollars because they're reaching that exact audience. So it really depends on your audience. The more targeted and niche your audience is, I think the lower number of people you have to have before.
Okay, fellow in the back in the black sweater.
So my question is for the startup. They're just
speak loudly.
How do you keep your costs low for sourcing the information for emails? Because
how do you source the information?
Yeah, at a low cost.
There's free guys like Startup Digest. I believe it's.
Oh yeah, great model.
Jason Baptiste works for free.
Yeah, I mean, so here's how he did it, which is brilliant, right? Here's what he did. He found people so I was just moving to Boston, and he's like, well, hey, we need a new curator. I'm like, well, actually, this is a good way for me to meet a ton of people and be on the radar just as I'm moving. So he did a franchise model where he finds people who are already popular or want to meet new people to just curate events, right? And how do I source that information? There are probably 2 or 3 great event sites in Boston. And I go through there and I find 5 or 6 things and I add useful content like people you should follow. It takes me 45 minutes. But he's outsourced the entire thing and he even, what was it, Jessica, puts it all together. That's got to be hell for them every Sunday night. I joke with it, but yeah,
Yeah, essentially what we've done is, Startup Digest is all broken up by city. So he does the Boston one, and we have 53 other cities now. And each one we call them a curator. So what they do once a week is they pick the best events. So we're not trying to be completely comprehensive. We're trying to say, here are the 3 to 4 most valuable ones you should know about this week. And what the curator gets in return is why the name value is so important is the email actually comes out in their name. So their name is attached to it. So if you reply to the Boston email, it goes to Jason. So he gets that name recognition, because when I started doing this in Silicon Valley, it was just in Silicon Valley, just one list, and it was just me. And I started to notice after my name started to come out every single week to all these people started recognizing me as the guy in Silicon Valley that knew about these events. And especially in the startup world, it's very important to have your name recognized, to get partners, to get investment, to find co-founders, to get employees, all that sort of stuff. So, our market, our industry, like that name value recognition is important.
The first year of HARO, I still to this day, I say the smartest thing I ever did when I launched HARO was make every email come from Peter Shankman.
Yep.
Every email came from Peter Shankman with the email peter@shankman.com. It meant that every day I had to delete thousands of out-of-office replies. But it was totally worth it, because if you compare the name recognition of who I am now versus what I had in 2005, it's off the hook. I mean, it is literally off the hook, because things that I'm doing now, stuff that I'm working on TV, all that stuff came from showing up in your inbox 3 times a day and you welcoming me. I had a guy stop me in a gas station because he saw a HARO sticker on my car. He goes, dude, my wife talks about you all the time. It was very, very weird. That was a little weird.
But going back to that guy's question, I mean, basically keeping costs low for you have 2 ways of generating content, right? I mean, Chris's model is aggregating, existing data through curators. Writing original content's a little more difficult, because again, to make it actionable, to make it relevant, that's where kind of costs come in. If you're not doing it yourself, that's where costs come in. If you have a staff of writers, for example.
And other formats too, you could have sort of like a marketplace, so almost how Craigslist started. So, or you could have, queries more informational based. So it just depends on the type of content and the type of niche you're going for, and whatever kind of that gap is. Especially in the startup world, there's a lot of news and analysis and kind of reviews and all that stuff, but the events was a niche that was kind of not well taken care of. So just think about like what you guys are doing and like how you guys can source whatever content that is. But it's very unique to the type of audience.
Back in 2000, there was a guy, anyone know Bernardo Joseph? Yeah. Bernardo ran a list back in 2000 called Bernardo's List. And essentially all he did was he found out every single party that was going on in the .com day. And that was a lot of work, because back in the .com day, everyone had sick money. And there were like 8 parties a night. But he did a list of the parties, and he'd send it out every Thursday called Bernardo's List. And you knew that if you had listed a party that you knew the second that email went out, because 5 seconds later your email was full of people wanting to be invited. And he started selling advertising, he made a fortune. He did the same exact thing. If you have content, you shouldn't have to pay a penny for your content. The content that you're promoting out there, that should not be considered in your startup costs. Because if you have something you want to promote and you have an email list, that content should be free, whether it's you writing it, or whether it's you going out and finding it, or doing what you did, which is really smart, or just having journalists send you stuff. There are ways to get your content. Content should never be, at the very beginning, should never be a startup cost.
Let's talk about the content types. This is kind of an amalgam of, I talked to each of these 4 guys last week, and I have kind of categorized them in certain ways. Are there certain types of content that are more relevant for email rather than others, or how, news and timeliness seems to be a big factor. Is there any type of content that's not timely that would work as a newsletter or as on email?
Go ahead. I mean, newsletters in general, they don't necessarily have to be timely per se. I mean, like Peter's business is very timely. Like you said, you have to act immediately. But like a corporate, a company who sends out a monthly newsletter or a biweekly newsletter or something like that, that might just be more editorial and content-based, informational. It's not necessarily needs to be reacted on. So, in that case, it's not like it's evergreen content, but, someone can get back to it. Unlike you, who would never read an HTML email on your mobile device, but, somebody who, can go back and reference email again.
I'll tell you what I get. I must have my email must be out on like millions of lists, because I get countless emails from. Just because you have my email address, by the way, does not mean it's all right to put me in your list. And that should apply to everyone. If I had his email, doesn't make it okay. But the emails that I do read religiously every day, at 4 a.m. in comes the email from Tut. If you've never read Tut, it's Musings from the Universe. It's this wonderful thing that every day just starts off your day with a little bit of inspiration. Google Tut and Universe, T-U-T. I used to read the New York Times updates all the time, but now it's just easier on the iPad to get it. And then I read something called Pop Pitch. Pop Pitch is a newsletter from Europe that comes out once a week with really, really snarky gossip. And it's not timely. It's timely to the point of a week, but it's stuff I'd never know otherwise. So yeah, I don't necessarily think timeliness is great for email, but email, again, it comes down to having content that people want to read.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go like the whatever company they pitched, the Daily Secret. That fit like the model perfect. Like I think at least for kind of the Daily Candy Thrillist, like the Bob Pittman pilot stuff. Like there's a like literally. I mean, like he has this model down. I think like there's even like a little packet they give out to like investment companies. Like right, like and there's a 3-prong approach. This isn't from that, but it's similar. Of like versus identify who you're going after. Like what is the audience, right? So there's DealByte that sold about like a actual reported $22 million of green daily living tips. It was about green living. That was the content type, what they were putting out. But the question is, what was the demographic behind that content? Well, it was rich soccer moms. Like that's who wanted the green daily living tip that were women. That's what they were going after. They'll even state that, right? The third part is it has to be a piece of utility. Do not just give the news or tell the weather or the weather, all right? Give out a piece of utility that they could not find anywhere. Be a secret, right? Like, for example, geeks, right? You're like geeky friend who like knows that crazy like random tech tip what to do with your iPhone. Like, give out tips like that every day that nobody else would know. That's the 3-prong model. That's all they do. Look at any of them across the board. That's what they do every day. And that's what works. But at the end, it's some type of utility. HARO is you guys basically give them, how to get press right away to get in with the Wall Street Journal or whatever their niche is. Chris is people want to know what events to go to and that are good. That's a piece of utility. Daily Candy is great. You're in a city and I want to know where to go shopping. I'm a woman. Like great piece of utility. I could go down every single thing on that list and what the piece of utility is. Thrillist is, like young men who like to drink and party and be douches and find out what to do. But hey, douches are a valuable demographic, right?
Overheard on Twitter. Douches.
Retweeting. That's a good way of framing it up.
Okay, let's take a couple more questions. And I don't know if you guys are on the network right now because I'm not, and therefore I can't read anything from Boston. But you can feel free to pass them along if there are any right here.
There's a whole bunch.
This lady, go ahead.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Business model. I'm looking for a blueprint to a business model that I can do for like a big and thriller. Do you guys have anything?
You just heard it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, but like.
Well,
like, is there like one?
Look, let me tell you. This is email. This is not curing cancer. Okay, and I cannot stress enough. I sit on these panels, and people are like, please tell us everything you did. I started a newsletter that helped people. And then there's like 59 minutes, people going, well, shit, we have the room for an hour. This is not rocket science. We're not redefining pie here. Create information that helps people, get a good host that's cheap to send the emails, find your audience that wants the stuff you want to send, and covet that audience. And here's another one. Be good to that audience. Okay, because that audience, it's not your right to be able to send them email. Okay, it's your audience's it's your privilege to wind up in their inbox. Okay, the second you think it's your right, you're going to lose your audience. Never ever forget that. But other than that, HARO never had a business plan. I started and sold it without so much as anything in a cocktail napkin. We never did anything like that. I think write down what you're doing, but you don't have to sit there and put there's no programmable demographic and computer generated algorithm to send an email. Done.
I need 4 people to help me run this particular company.
All right. Again, I don't know enough about your business to know that, but you can figure that out. When I used a sleep ratio. When it became less than 4 hours a night, I knew I had to hire my first editor. When I hit that, I did.
Awesome. Some more questions. All the way in the back.
We did something.
So, big question on how fast you grew the network. Would you guys say it was all referral, customer referral, advertising?
Louder,
how
louder,
fast you grew
louder.
the network, your customers?
How do we grow?
How
audience?
So, unsolicited. How much of it was unsolicited at first, just to get people to be aware of what you were doing? And then how do you deal with that?
I'm gonna take credit of this because I don't want to hog the. HARO never spent $1 on advertising. If you have great content, your job is to have such amazing content that your readers feel cool when they share it.
Well, also, how many people raised their hand and said they are subscribed to HARO? A lot of people in this room are subscribed to HARO. And how many people found out about it from a friend or something like that, right? That's what I did. Someone told me about this great site, and I signed up, and then my staff signed up, and then we talk about it, and, it's like this network effect.
What about on day one? On day one, you tell your friends.
Yeah.
Literally, on day one, you tell your friends. But again, you have to have the good content.
Right.
And this is where it gets tricky. Now I started a newsletter, and I don't know. Well, your content sucks. You know, the fact of the matter is, every time someone gets in HARO and they get quoted somewhere, right? And what's the first thing? You get quoted somewhere, what's the first thing you do? You post that shit on Facebook. You're like, and then someone says, how'd you get that? Oh, let's think about that. I should join that. Boom, new member. You know, that you have to have such great content. Maybe it's not HARO type stuff, but you should have good stuff that people can't find somewhere else that benefits them. The TUT emails, I forward those to friends all the time. The pop pitch emails, I forward those to friends all the time. You want to have stuff that here's the rules of PR in the social media world. PR, your job in PR is no longer to do your own PR. Your job is to get other people to do your PR for you by having incredible content.
Yeah, go back to the pitches, right? Daily Secret. Again, great concept, great idea, great execution. You know, what did you guys go from 0 to 30,000 subscribers pretty quickly? I mean, you seeded your network, you told your friends, you put it on Facebook, you got it out there, and then, you know, it started to reverberate.
Talk about when you were just on Facebook and how many readers did you have there? What was the environment like on Facebook, and what drove you to switch over to email?
We had 1,200 Facebook. At that time, we were still using something on Facebook called groups. And Facebook, you had groups, and you were allowed 1,200 people on the group. The nice thing about the group is you could send an email to the entire list, and then that entire group, and then people would respond. So I would do that. Facebook, we two things happened simultaneously. We hit 1,200 people, and at the same time, I got a call from ProfNet. ProfNet is a company owned by PR Newswire that does the same thing that HARO does, but they charge $5,000 a year for it. And ProfNet called me, threatening to sue me because I was stealing their queries. And when they called, I was walking through a CVS drugstore buying ibuprofen for a newly broken rib. And by ibuprofen, I mean Percocet. And they said, we're going to sue you because you're stealing our queries. And I went, if a reporter sends me the same queries that they send you, and we both post them on our list, how am I stealing? You know, because I was high on Percocet, I'm like, oh my God, ProfNet, you're totally stealing my queries. Stop it. But here's what made me decide to switch over to the list, because I knew that I was going to fill out on Facebook, and I was going to have to do it. What made me decide was I said to ProfNet, I said, dude, I see your office from where I'm standing. You're 2 blocks away. Buy me a steak and a martini. I'll give you the 1,200 members. I don't care. I'm not doing this to make money. I'm doing this for fun. And they said, fine, I'll be in touch. And I never heard back. And like 2 weeks later, I'm like, that was really freaking rude. And so I called a kid I knew in Canada who lives in his parents' basement and builds websites for like $100 in beer. And he built the website in 24 hours, and HARO was born. But yeah, HARO wouldn't have been anything had PR Newswire not pissed me off.
That's awesome. If anybody here has the Wi-Fi password, you can send it to me via text message. or walk up to me and give it to me on a slip of paper, because that would help me get back on the network. In the meantime, however, Jennifer, is there a question from Boston?
Yeah, 2 questions actually on Ustream. One is, earlier Peter said that the text email is superior, graphics is bad. I use Constant Contact and am not aware of text-only emails. Should I try to minimize graphics? Works on Apple products.
I'm not sure about Constant Contact, but I think that every service gives you the ability to do text and HTML, which one you want. I mean, in a perfect world, I guarantee you I would read more emails if people send them to me with just text. The problem with HTML, and I think this is, okay, let's define HTML. HTML links are fine. I'm not talking about HTML with just links. I'm talking about graphics. I'm talking about where I open your email and all I see is white space, and the one line that I do get the text, if you can't read my email, click here to see it. I don't want to see the web. I want to read it in my BlackBerry. So I think there are ways to do it on text. And not everyone's like me. I'm never home. You know, I live on an airplane. I'm always reading my email on my BlackBerry. So the only time I really have to do it is that. But yes, every service should have a little checkbox that says, click here if you click here to create a text. Or you should just be able to create a text-only version as well each time you send it out. And the system should be able to tell you, okay, he's in a BlackBerry, use this. But yeah, and Mac and PC is irrelevant. They work on all platforms.
Yeah, we actually choose.
And the other question is to Chris. What is your revenue model?
Question to Chris, revenue model.
It's the same exact thing. So we have content that pulls together a very niche group of audience, entrepreneurs, developers, founders, hackers. It's really, really hard to find this, so people share it and forward it, and people are happy that. Actually, someone tweeted the other day, like, I am a very proud subscriber of Startup Digest. I was like, that's awesome. I had no idea who this guy was. So basically, we have this captive audience that is reading our emails every single week, and just like HARO does, we put in a little avatar on top, an editorial written note with one call to action that a brand advertiser pays for. That's how we do it. It's very simple.
It's a great model too, because I know Baltimore just started, and I've been subscribed to it. And it's like it was like unlocked the city. I was like, this kind of stuff is going on in our backyard. I had no idea. So like the curating model is great, and these people are pulling out the gems, sort of like the Daily Secrets, and for the tech community.
And one other quick thing is, like, if you look at the Daily Canyon throw list again, right, they actually do what they call, I think, like Thrillist calls it allied content, where they actually send one dedicated email,
Yeah.
which is pretty much like it is a full-page ad, but people don't mind because it's useful. It might be, let's say, like Bacardi, I think, is one of their advertisers, but it's well written. It's actually written by, I believe, that editor. It's useful, and it's
Bacardi's
actually
always useful.
Yeah, like, well, but I could use it. Yeah. So like, it's a full-page thing, and the CPMs they get in others, you will constantly hear 250. What is it? 300, 250, 275, and that's not like that is across the board. I don't know what the fill rate is, but like literally independently confirmed 5-6 different companies in that space, $250 to $300. That is a lot of money. That is orders of magnitude larger than any content site you will run. Plus, it's once a day, 250 to 400 words.
Okay.
Right? Like
this guy right here.
Yeah, so as far as these advertisers, I mean, the sense is I'm getting is it's much better to do direct sales than to use an ad network like Google AdSense or something.
You can.
But, okay, but
So what's the question?
So my question is, how do you guys, or how do these companies find these advertisers? Is there like an online?
How do you find your advertisers?
All right, I'm going to give you an example with Chris, right? Basically, I subscribed before I was a curator. Everybody on there, they were an entrepreneur and hacker, right? So what would they want to hear about? They'd want to hear about software. They would want to hear about events, especially since they're subscribing to go to them. It's Chris's audience. So he should just call up, right, and say, hey, blah, blah, blah. I have 2,000 people who love products like yours. Try out an ad. You know what? If you want to do it at first, let's do it on a cost per acquisition basis, just to test the waters, right? If they're going to be weird. They're not going to say no to that. They will see the performance. I guarantee it will be damn good. They'll be like, yeah, you want that $250 CPM? Boom. You should be creating a list, something you would want to read. If you don't care about like what you're writing, like just don't do it. Find something you care about and you have an audience in.
So, yeah, I just want to, if you guys don't have passion, I mean, you obviously have some passion, you're here. If you don't have passion, get the hell out of this business right down now. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. You'll stop after like a week. You're not going to write
Okay, Jennifer, let's go.
Okay,
Sorry.
There's a moderator saying that Bernardo of Bernardo's List is attending the event from Buenos Aires on Ustream.
Hey!
Bernardo.
You owe me a beer.
Is that possible?
Another Ustream person wants to know, can you ask them about opt-ins, double opt-ins, and what's best?
Opt-ins and double opt-ins.
I'll give my perspective on that.
Yeah, if anyone has that answer, it's him.
Yeah, I mean, so our platform supports all, we support 3 main opt-ins. So there's double opt-in, there's notified, single opt-in, and there's just opt-in. You hit the form, you hit submit, you collect the data. We recommend notified single opt-in. So if somebody comes in, double opt-in, although the case can be made, would be the cleanest, most permission-based list with no issues in terms of spam and complaint rates, et cetera, which are really troublesome to overall deliverability. You lose a lot of people on that confirmation email. A lot of people won't take that extra step, or maybe that potentially that email gets filtered. So we don't recommend double opt-in, albeit there's a battle that'll always be debated back and forth between clean list and not. So we like to recommend, sign up, get a confirmation page, and then kick out a welcome email immediately to those people. Let them know, again, reinforce what they signed up for. They're never going to be any more engaged with you at the point of that sign up right there. Okay, that's your opportunity to make your first impression. That's the opportunity to show them the way you do things, and to kind of reconfirm the promise that whatever has attracted them. And in my perspective, to go back to what Peter said, I mean, opting into your email marketing list and opting into your communications is one of the greatest compliments somebody can give to you. So fulfill on that promise and don't abuse it. Like
okay, this guy right here.
Do you guys think that the perception or the willingness to give up your email address has changed in the past few
Are people
years?
more willing or less willing to give up your email addresses?
Or is that just me? I know I used to be terrified of giving up my
I think a lot of people have backup emails that they do use, like they call them throwaways, where if they get too spam, they get rid of them. I mean, one of the things about HARO, you can't use a throwaway email address with us because if you're not checking it every single morning, 3 times a day, whatever, you lose out on the benefit of HARO. But I don't think people care so much for traditional email marketing per se, because they have throwaway email addresses they can use.
Yeah, I don't think so at all. I think it's, I think more and more people are opting in. I mean, I look at our client, we have 600 plus clients. I mean, all their lists are growing from a variety of different sources. Social has actually amplified all that,
Yeah, in terms. It feels like people are more willing now.
Yeah,
to give up.
I think so. I think so.
Somebody on Ustream is saying people don't read. Younger generations do not read their email anymore.
Everyone says that. That's
Chris
not
McCann
true.
is a younger generation member.
Yet to see a study that proves that out.
Yeah. It's such BS. I'm sorry. I hear that like every other week. Like, kids don't check email.
All they do is text.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the fact of the matter is they do text a lot, but they're still reading email.
Yeah, and especially like as soon as you graduate college and move like one step into the working world, email is your default, ratio. Like for us, like our audience is mostly guys 25 to 35, like from the younger skewed demographic, and these guys all read email. Actually, in fact, our audience is probably the most socially connected audience in the entire world. Not only do they use Twitter, but these guys freaking made Twitter, and yet they're using email to find out about all these events. So like, if your audience cannot not use email, like there's no way. I mean, our audience is like hackers, and they read freaking email.
Yep. Real quick, who has email here? Put your hand up. Yeah, okay, there we go. Like, done.
Nicely done.
My parents are sitting right here. I'm pretty sure even they're on email.
Hey.
How about the length of a campaign? Should that be, we got the Daily Candy that's super short. Peter's emails go on for pages and pages.
But you know what? They don't, though. What people read the most is the table of contents. And the table of contents are just a list. It takes 3 seconds to read that. If you scroll down for something, you get it. Also, the bigger your email, and you could probably verify this, the bigger your email, the more chances it's going to be caught by a spam filter.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to send a major scroller. In your case, but you send all text though.
Yeah,
which is great. I mean,
But you know the average attention span is today. Anyone here under 30? Okay, it's going to blow your mind. Back in the 80s, something called MTV came out, right? And I know you think they played videos, which were music, like it was music songs you heard on the radio, which is Pandora before the internet. They played these songs, and they made videos out of them, videos of 3 minutes in length, and senators were holding hearings thinking that we were dumbing down America because we only had a 3-minute attention span, thanks to MTV. I know that blows your mind because MTV is, for as long as you've been alive, is a reality channel, but they played music back then. 3-minute attention span, and Ed Meese was holding hearings, right? Average attention span today, 2.6 seconds. 2.6 seconds. That means 17,000 times a day you're being asked for your attention. What does that mean? Learn to write briefly. Shorter is better.
Okay, Jennifer.
Boston, tips to avoid being sent straight to the spam folder.
How do you avoid spam filters?
You have a permission-based opt-in list, and you're sending targeted, relevant, timely content to them. You're not abusing the channel like I mentioned before. So if you're sending something out daily, again, 3 times a day. We have clients that send 7 days a week and have absolutely zero complaints at all. So there's this common perception that content is backs into filtering and stuff like that. Like, don't use the word free in your subject line. There's certain words that are spammy. Yeah, it's true, but actually now it's all based on reputation. So the amount of email you send versus the amount of complaints that are generated on that report as spam button, all that kind of stuff is being reported. Every sender on the planet has a reputation that they can back into. So, following best practices and, staying consistent, and then also processing bounces, taking people off your list when they opt out, all those best practices will keep you off the spam filters.
Okay, Dan?
I personally use MailChimp, and I know like if I had, and I actually learned that the last time I was here, I think you were on the panel.
Yeah.
Out of like the freer services, the first tier, thing out of Constant Contact, iContact, MailChimp. Yep. Everyone was pretty much on board.
What's the question?
The question is, am I making a lot of money from MailChimp? No, I'm not. The question is, what's the unsubscribe? Like, I think I remember one time I got like 2% unsubscribe.
It's 1% unsubscribe. 1%. So MailChimp, correct me if I'm wrong, is very strict, probably stricter than any other email.
Very strict in terms of, I don't know the way they work behind the scenes, but so you can go on their website, you can create an account, the freemium model as well. They have to have some serious monitoring and abuse analysts going. If you upload a list, for example, I'm sure they're looking at that list, looking at bad syntax, all that kind of stuff. And then they're monitoring you for sure.
With MailChimp, if you have above 1% unsubscribes or above 1% spam or a number of hard bounces, or they had a bunch of stuff, like you upload a list, too many of them all at once, they also check your site, they'll flag your account, and then they'll actually call you, and you're going to have to talk to like whoever their account manager person is.
Contact is the same thing.
And they track this on a continuous basis, so you have to make sure that like your list is clean, you're not just throwing random spam in there, and that people aren't unsubscribing in masses. But it all goes back to content. As long as your content's good and it's great and people are subscribing and you're not just like buying lists and throwing it in there, like you'll be fine. It's only when you get into these dirtier tactics that you kind of have to worry about.
George?
Do you survey those who unsubscribe and what they learn?
Do you survey unsubscribes?
On HARO, we used to. We still do. When we first started out, that's the other thing. When people unsubscribe, don't take it personally. It took me probably a year to stop taking it personally. I had email each other, so like what? It's like you didn't like it, like there's like just don't have that much time. Oh, so it's not you, it's me, right? No, but essentially, yeah, don't take it personally. We would ask them, and a lot of them weren't. There will be people that won't be right for your list. You have to think about that as well. Like there were a lot of people who didn't get the concept that good PR could help them, so they'd unsubscribe. There were people that only wanted it once a day, which doesn't really help the journalist who has a 2 o'clock deadline if we send out the email at 4 p.m. every day. That didn't help them. So it's like there are going to be people who just aren't right for your list. The number one reason for unsubscribe for us was too many emails. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. We have to send out 3 a day or it doesn't work for the journalist. So figure it out, and if you can fine-tune based on people's responses, do it.
What was the QA strategy? Was it a survey? Was it an email?
No, we figured out where they lived and we firebombed their house. No, it was simply when they unsubscribed, we would note their unsubscription. We let them, they could fill out a form telling us why, and sometimes we'd follow up with them. It's like, hey, shoot an email and go, hey, you just unsubscribed for us, but here's another email. We'd like to know why. And sometimes they'd be nice and reply. Sometimes it helps us screw off, but it varied.
Okay, we're going to get towards the end of this panel here momentarily, so we'll go into a rapid fire question and answer. Anybody have a quick, direct question all the way in the back there?
Following up on the demographic question, any insights into 50 and above?
How do you get to people that are 50 or above in age? Is that right?
Louder.
They're using email. They're using email and they're using Skype. That's for damn sure.
They're using email. Okay.
And they're also the fastest. But they're using it at 4:30 in the afternoon to 6:30 in the afternoon.
They're also the fastest growing demographic of social media as well.
Yeah, because they want to follow their kids on Facebook
and so as you know, you can't sign up with for any social site without an email address.
Okay, right here.
How many users did you have to hit until it started paying for lunch?
Say that one more time.
How many users did you have to have before it started paying for lunch? Ramen profitability, quote unquote.
I think we got our first advertisement at 7,000 members.
7,000.
That was American Apparel, yeah.
Okay, right there.
This is me sound like, I mean, not for HARO, because you send out an email.
Direct question. What is your question?
What day, if you only could send out an email once a week, what would be the best day to send it out?
What's the best day to send an email?
We send ours out on Monday morning at 6 a.m. Probably the worst time you could ever send a freaking email. But we've tested and split tested all of our days and all of our times. We put one group on Monday morning and one group on Tuesday morning. The group on Tuesday morning didn't get their email on Monday morning. Sent us so many replies, pissed off that they didn't get their email. Where the hell is our starter guys? I was like, you're on a split test. You're going to get your email Tuesday. Send me my email now. Then I'm like, okay, people like on Monday. Once we picked the time, we just stuck with it, and people are very used to it now, and it's very repetitive.
Yeah,
it's probably not the best, but that's what people
just
like.
Keep testing.
Right here in the blue.
Yeah.
What is the big mistake that you made that you share with others so we don't make it?
What's the biggest mistake you made?
Not trusting my gut.
Don't incorporate in California.
There we go. Okay, Jennifer.
Okay, from Boston. If 300 batting average is good in baseball, what is a good open rate?
What's a good open rate?
I mean, any of our clients who are getting over 25 to 30% are well above normal. I mean, we see stuff in the teens, we see stuff around 10%, and then we see stuff like Peter, consistently, that are doing it regular. So it's all over the map. But if you're doing 20 to 35% open rates on average on every send, that you're doing okay.
Okay, another question from Boston. What are the thoughts about services that you get added to whitelists to help in email delivery like SendGrid.com?
Whitelisting services like SendGrid.
We've never.
The one that we use, the one that we resell is ReturnPath's Sender Score Certified whitelist. Basically, it's adopted worldwide, all the ISPs, and basically you apply. There's an annual fee. They collect it, and basically they monitor your traffic for a small provisioning period. If they basically sniff you out to not be a spammer and doing all things right, you're adopted onto this list, and then you have to just stay within a threshold of bounces and complaints to stay on it, and then your email is going to be received globally across all the ISPs with images rendering and links rendering and all the things that sometimes are turned off.
Okay, who hasn't asked a question yet? Somebody behind the column. If you're behind the column, that's very strategically correct.
You screaming me.
Yes. Question for Peter. How much of your growth at the beginning can be attributed more to the fact that you actually didn't start as an email list, but more as a Facebook group?
My growth?
Yes.
Probably very little, because when I moved it over to the web, I didn't tell anyone new. what happened was I told the people on Facebook, I said, hey, moving over to the web, and they all joined, and I think they probably just told their friends. I mean, and it was not really so much about Facebook. We did use Facebook in the respect that once we moved over to the web, it was like my status message every day. Also, use your audience. If your audience loves what you're doing, don't be afraid to ask them to do it for you. When we hit 1 year, we had HARO Day, where we asked everyone to give us their status, and we'd pick like the top 25 best status messages or whatever and send them T-shirts. We were trending on Twitter. HARO and was trending on Twitter for like 6 hours, which was freaking awesome. I mean, granted, there were only like 9 people on Twitter at the time, but it was still it was pretty cool at the time. So I mean, use your audience to help grow your list as well. If they love what you're producing, they shouldn't be afraid to talk about it as well.
Is there another question behind the column there? Okay, Jennifer.
Okay, Boston. If charging a flat fee per ad, how much is one reader worth? A range for how much an ad should cost?
How much is a reader worth?
On the ad, I mean, if you look at the acquisitions of, like, let's say Daily Candy, it's more so like what is the lifetime value of the reader, or the value at like acquisition. That I think was that they had 1 point something million, they sold for 125 million to Comcast. Like, there's been talk of this like magic like $100 like value for a reader. So like, to put that in perspective, I think there was a presentation the founder of Mint did that like, while Google, the value of a customer somewhere is of like $30 and up, Facebook is like $2 to $3, like 500 million users, 1.5 billion in revenue. So like, email is very, very high value per user, which means if you're somebody like a Thrillist or other companies that do pay for traffic, Peter's really lucky and didn't have to, you can spend on customer acquisition costs and have a high lifetime value of a customer with low churn if you do it right, and it's very, very profitable, and you just do it till the cows come home.
If I were to do it over again and had money to begin with, I probably would have done that. In the beginning, I couldn't justify paying for users because we didn't get, the users weren't paying. So it wasn't like we were making that money back. That would have been a way, 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 way long tail thing for us.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take 3 more questions. Right back there.
Yeah. In terms of sending out content on social media at the same time that you mail it out, does that affect the subscribe rate?
Should you send it out on social media at the same time that you email it?
If I did that, I'd have no one following me.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, we send out 53 separate newsletters. We can't do 53 separate status messages. It's just just the social media for us, that doesn't really work for the content that we're doing. We do we do a Twitter stuff. We have a Twitter account. We do Facebook stuff, but it's different kind of content.
So should you post content on your blog at the same time you're posting it on the newsletter?
We don't.
No.
I think they're separate pieces.
Yeah. You can cross-pollinate that content,
Okay.
We have a lot of people who do
so
newsletters.
That's one of our 3. Who hasn't asked yet? Matt.
How did you guys manage your sales team for the first 6 months?
How did you manage your sales? Peter, who's your sales team?
I gave them, I fed them, and I petted them, and I brushed them. That was about it. I didn't. I to this day I still don't have a sales team.
Changed their litter box.
I'm going down to Vocus to meet with my overlords next week. We're going to put a sales team into place for the first time ever.
So for those of us who don't have advertisers banging down our door.
No, you don't. I don't think you need. Go make the calls yourself. No, when you're an ultralight startup, no one is as passionate about your company and understands it as well as you do.
Do it yourself. Do all your technology yourself. All your sales yourself. All your marketing yourself. So that was question 2 out of 3. The last question from somebody who has not asked yet. Anybody have a question that hasn't asked one yet? Wow. Well then, okay, Laura.
I guess a question for all of you. What's the biggest challenge you've had in building the business that you've each had?
The biggest challenge you had.
For who?
For who is it for?
All of you.
All of them. Peter's never had any challenges.
Yeah, yes, I have. Thank you. I think, God, one of the biggest challenges for me was once it really became a company. When I first started, I tried to send out the emails in the morning. For those who don't know, the company is named, the corporate company of HARO was named 2 Cats and a Cup of Coffee. And the reason being is that the first HARO had to go out at 5 a.m. every morning. The only person it's stupid enough to be up at 5 a.m. other than me, or the only thing, were my 2 cats and my cup of coffee. So just know that what you're getting into is going to consume your life, and accept that. If you're passionate about what you do, know that you're not going to have a life for a while, and you're going to have to give up some of those parties and some of the fun and whatever because you're doing this thing. But you'll love it enough that it won't matter.
Now that you're sold out, vacation all the time.
Oh yeah, dude, I sleep till 4:45 a.m. now. It rocks.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Peter, Chris, Greg, Jason, and all these guys are going to be hanging out at Heartland Brewery across the street. So My moral to you is do not approach these guys and ask them questions right now because they're going to be out the door. Okay, so Peter's not even going to
approach me now. Right? Let them get
we have to be out of this room very shortly. So across the street at Heartline Brewery.
That's good, man.